Close your eyes and take a deep breath. You are entering a new frequency, the frequency of your own power. You are not here by accident. You are not late. You are right on time for the unfolding of your abundance. Repeat softly within, I am now activated. I can see my value. I can see my potential. Feel those words vibrate through your chest like light. There has always been more inside you, more wisdom, more creativity, more ability to attract and create wealth than you've ever allowed yourself to see. But today, that potential wakes up. Today, the seed of prosperity within you bursts open. You are no longer waiting for opportunity. You are becoming the opportunity itself. Every cell in your body begins to remember who you truly are. A divine channel for increase, a vessel for flow, a magnet for wealth and ideas. You were never small. You were simply unactivated. Now the light is on. Now the current of abundance begins to move through you. Say to yourself, I feel the shift of prosperity awakening within me. I feel a surge of new divine wealth energy flowing through my life right now. Let those words ripple through you like waves of golden light. The energy of money, the energy of ideas, the energy of divine right opportunity begins to recognize you again. You are not chasing wealth. Wealth is remembering you. You are not searching for success. Success is aligning with you. You are not hoping for abundance. Abundance is already encoded in your very being. Everything you desire already exists, and your potential is the key that opens the door. You are the activation point. You are the beginning of every new level. Right now, as you breathe, new streams of income begin to form in unseen places. Right now, as you listen, the frequency of confidence settles into your heart. Right now, as you affirm, you begin to magnetize people, ideas, and opportunities that match your rising vibration. You are not becoming wealthy, you are remembering wealth. You are not learning abundance, you are returning to it. It has always been your natural state. So declare within, I am now activated. My mind is clear. My words are powerful. My potential is awake. I am ready to receive. You are not waiting for permission to prosper. You are the permission. You are not hoping for change. You are the change in motion. The law of increase is already operating through you. And as you align with your highest self, every block to your flow begins to dissolve. Right now, imagine golden energy radiating from your heart, moving outward, blessing your ideas, your work, your home, your bank account. See it flowing like light through every part of your life. That's the energy of divine potential made active. And whisper once more, everything starts with me. I have the power to change today. You are awake, you are activated, and your potential is now commanding abundance to rise all around you. Breathe deeply and feel your center. The power you seek has never been outside you. You are the source point, the origin of everything that flows into your life. The outer world is only a mirror, reflecting your inner vibration. When you change within, everything without begins to respond. You do not chase money. You awaken the part of you that naturally attracts it. You do not beg the universe to bless you. You become the blessing through awareness. Say gently, I am the source point of wealth energy. I am the starting place of abundance. Prosperity flows through me before it ever flows to me. Let that truth sink in. You are not empty, you are overflowing. The divine mind never creates lack, and since you are one with divine mind, lack cannot truly exist in your reality. It is only an illusion, a forgotten truth waiting to be remembered. Every time you affirm your worth, every time you speak faith instead of fear, every time you bless what you have, you strengthen your signal to the universe. The signal says, I am ready, I am open, I am abundant now. Feel that frequency rising in you. It's subtle but powerful. Your energy becomes magnetic. Your words become creative. Your heart becomes a transmitter of prosperity. Florence Scovel Shinn said, your word is your wand. When you speak, the universe rearranges itself to match your vibration. So speak from your source, not from your struggle. Speak from your truth, not from your fear. Speak from your divine identity, not your temporary situation. Say softly, I am the cause of my abundance. I am the vessel of divine supply. I am one with the infinite richness of life. Each thought is a seed. Each word is a command. Each feeling is a magnet. And when these three align, your thought, your word, your feeling, manifestation becomes effortless. You don't have to push. You don't have to chase. You simply become the vibration of what you seek. When you feel abundant, you attract abundance. When you feel powerful, you attract opportunity. When you feel calm, you attract divine timing. Everything starts within you, the cause, the creation, the flow. That's why you no longer wait for wealth. You activate wealth consciousness right where you are. Say again, letting your words carry power. Money flows to me because I am aligned with its energy. Wealth finds me because I am open and ready to receive. I am the source point of prosperity, and I radiate abundance now. Now imagine a golden circle expanding from your chest, rippling outward. This is your wealth frequency. It carries your energy into the unseen, into the field of infinite possibility, where every blessing begins to form. Your vibration speaks before your words ever do. You are no longer in survival. You are in creation. You are no longer reacting. You are commanding. You are no longer hoping. You are knowing. Right now, every door that leads to more begins to open in divine order. Right now, every opportunity that matches your new frequency starts to move closer. Right now, the energy of abundance recognizes your voice. It knows who you are. It knows your name. It knows your readiness. And with faith, say once more, I am the source point of wealth energy. Prosperity begins with me. I am abundant in thought, in feeling, and in form. I am now the living expression of divine supply. You are not just attracting wealth, you are activating it. You are not waiting for a miracle, you are becoming the miracle. You are not asking for power, you are remembering that it has always been yours. Let peace fill you. Let gratitude rise. Because when you know you are the source, you will never fear the flow. You are the well, not the cup. You are the light, not the reflection. You are the cause, not the effect. And from this moment on, you walk as one who knows. Abundance begins within me, and I am now its living proof. Take a slow, steady breath. You have already done enough. You have already become enough. Now is the time to open. You are standing at the gateway of your own abundance, not knocking, but realizing the door was never locked. Say softly within, I am open to receive what matches my worth. These words are sacred. They call the universe into right alignment with your true self. For too long, you may have accepted less, not because you were unworthy, but because you forgot how much power lives in your openness. Now, that forgetfulness fades. Now, you remember, every breath is an invitation. Every heartbeat whispers, I am ready. Your openness is not weakness, it is wisdom. The universe pours into the open vessel, not the closed hand. Repeat gently, I am open. I am ready. I am worthy. You no longer need to earn what is already yours by divine right. You no longer need to strive to prove your value. You no longer need to wait for someone else to validate what heaven already declared true. You are worthy. Florence Scovel Shin said, the invisible forces are working for the man who is always acting as though he had faith. Faith is not trying, it is trusting. Faith is not begging, it is believing. Faith is not forcing, it is flowing. And right now, you flow. Right now, you rest in divine confidence. Right now, you open your heart wider than ever before. Say aloud, I receive what matches my worth. I release all that no longer aligns with my value. I am open to money that feels good. I am open to opportunities that honor my peace. I am open to prosperity that expands my purpose. Every time you speak, the unseen takes form. Every time you affirm, doors rearrange in your favor. Every time you choose faith over fear, the universe says, yes. So right now, imagine yourself surrounded by light, golden, soft, endless. This is the energy of receiving. You are not grasping or clinging. You are allowing. You are letting abundance come to you, gently, naturally, freely. Your openness is magnetic. Your peace is attractive. Your worth is undeniable. Say once more, I am open to receive what matches my worth. The universe always mirrors your inner standard. When you rise in worth, your outer world rises to meet you. When you know you deserve better, better begins to seek you. When you walk in love for yourself, life starts loving you back through miracles. You are no longer available for struggle. You are no longer compatible with lack. You are no longer aligned with fear. You are aligned with ease. You are aligned with flow. You are aligned with favor. Money begins to move toward you in perfect harmony. Ideas begin to flow through you like divine inspiration. People begin to recognize your light and respond to your energy. You are not chasing, you are chosen. You are not running after blessings. Blessings are running toward you. Because you are now open. You are open to wealth that feels peaceful. You are open to love that feels honest. You are open to growth that feels aligned. There is no force here, only flow. There is no rush here, only rhythm. There is no lack here, only divine sufficiency. The law of correspondence says, as within, so without. Your inner acceptance creates your outer abundance. So as you open, your world expands. As you allow, your supply increases. As you trust, your blessings multiply. Repeat softly, I am open to receive what matches my worth. I am open to receive joyfully. I am open to receive abundantly. I am open to receive now. You are the open sky, not the closed box. You are the flowing river, not the stagnant pool. You are the divine receiver of all that is good, true, and meant for you. Today, everything that matches your worth begins to move in your direction. Money that multiplies, opportunities that align, peace that endures, love that stays. And in quiet faith, you whisper once more, I am open, I am worthy, I am ready. All that matches my worth comes to me now, under grace, in perfect ways. Breathe, feel it, receive it. Your openness is your magnet, your worthiness is your permission, and your faith is the key that unlocks it all. Take a deep breath. You are the master of your energy. You are the creator of your experience. You are not a victim of vibration, you are the conductor of it. Every thought you think, every emotion you allow, every word you speak sends a ripple into the universe, and that ripple returns as your reality. You are not reacting to life, you are transmitting it. Say softly yet firmly, I command my energy, I create my results. There is power in that declaration. Florence Scovel Shin said, man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. When you command your energy, you are choosing what to see, and therefore choosing what to receive. You no longer surrender your emotions to the world's chaos. You no longer hand your peace to worry or doubt. You stand anchored in spiritual authority, knowing that what you think, feel, and say becomes the law of your life. Say gently, I now release every vibration that does not serve my highest good. I now align with power, peace, and prosperity. I am centered in divine order. I am aligned with infinite supply. You are not powerless. You are the pulse that sets reality in motion. You are not waiting for the energy to change, you are commanding it to. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you are rewiring your reality. Every time you bless instead of complain, you are rewriting your destiny. Every time you affirm love instead of lack, you are opening a new portal of abundance. Your emotions are energy in motion. Let them move toward light. Let them carry gratitude, faith, joy, and expectancy. The universe responds not to your words alone, but to the energy behind them. And your energy is divine. It is creative. It is magnetic. Say again, with confidence, I command my energy. I create my results. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. Circumstances respond to your vibration. When you speak truth, the world rearranges itself to match your frequency. When you declare prosperity, the channels of supply begin to open. When you choose love, even money flows with ease. Right now, imagine your energy as light, brilliant, golden, expanding from your heart like a sunrise. With every breath, it grows stronger. With every affirmation, it becomes clearer. This light moves through your home, your work, your ideas, your finances, cleansing, organizing, aligning. This is you commanding your field. This is you creating your results. No longer a bystander to life. You are its author. Say gently, I choose thoughts of abundance. I speak words of faith. I feel gratitude for what is and what is coming. I live in harmony with divine law. This is how you create results. Not through tension, not through struggle, but through deliberate energy. Through alignment, through calm command. Florence Scovel Shinn taught, faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. That is your energy now, calm certainty, peaceful power, divine authority. You no longer ask, when? You affirm, now. You no longer say, I hope, you say, I know. You no longer try, you allow. And the universe listens. It listens to your energy more than your effort. It listens to your calm more than your noise. It listens to your conviction more than your words. So speak softly but with knowing. I am aligned with infinite abundance. I command my energy toward prosperity. I command my words toward increase. I command my life into divine order. You are the creative center of your world. You are the calm in the current, the light in the storm, the voice of divine truth. Nothing external can overpower what you establish internally. The energy you command becomes the reality you live. Right now, as you sit in this awareness, you can feel the shift. Your energy strengthens, your spirit steadies, your vibration rises. You are surrounded by the evidence of your own command, peace within, power around, prosperity ahead. Say one final time, with peace and certainty, I command my energy, I create my results. Everything I touch aligns with abundance. Everything I speak calls forth increase. Everything I believe becomes real. And so it is, because you have spoken it, and the word you speak is law. Breathe in deeply. Feel your body soften. Feel your energy settle into peace. The work is done, the word is spoken, the law is moving. Now it's time to rest in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest receiver's frequency. Gratitude turns manifestation into materialization. Gratitude is not a reaction to results. It is the recognition that results are already here in the invisible. Say softly, I am grateful for the flow. Abundance is already mine. These words unlock something sacred inside you. They release the final bit of tension between wanting and having. They dissolve the gap between someday and now. Because when you are grateful, you are no longer asking, you are acknowledging. You are saying to the universe, I see it before I see it. And that is the vibration of faith. Florence Scovel Shinn said, gratitude is the law of increase, and complaint is the law of decrease. So now, you turn away from all complaint, all worry, all resistance, and you turn toward gratitude. You bless what is here. You bless what is coming. You bless what is unseen. You bless what is still forming. Whisper gently, thank you for the abundance already in motion. Thank you for the wealth already on the way. Thank you for the divine order unfolding in my favor. Gratitude doesn't just acknowledge, it multiplies. Every thank you speak plants a seed of increase. Every time you bless instead of beg, your vibration rises. Every time you thank life for its generosity, life sends you more to be thankful for. You are now standing in the flow, not outside of it, not searching for it in it. And this flow is alive. It is intelligent. It knows what you need, when you need it, and how to deliver it in perfect, graceful ways. Say softly, abundance flows through me now. Prosperity surrounds me now. Money, ideas, opportunities, they are all finding me now, under grace, in perfect ways. Feel the calm joy of that truth. You are not forcing the flow, you are allowing it. You are not pushing for results, you are receiving them. You are not waiting for abundance, you are recognizing it. right here, right now. Gratitude turns your ordinary moments into magnetic portals of manifestation. It turns the mundane into miraculous. It turns I need into I have. It turns one day into today. You are not hoping anymore, you are remembering. You are remembering that divine supply has never been cut off. It was only your awareness that dimmed, but now, your awareness is wide open. Say again, I am grateful for the flow. Abundance is already mine. Let that sentence wash over you. Let it settle into your heart, because gratitude is the proof of faith. When you give thanks before you see, you have already received. So now you give thanks for the unseen miracles, for the money that is already moving toward you, for the people that are already thinking of you, for the opportunities already aligning for your good. Say softly, I thank every dollar that has ever touched my hands. I bless every form of wealth that has ever passed through my life. I open to the increase that gratitude brings. You are never without, because you are never without gratitude. You are never in lack, because you are never outside of divine flow. Even now, the universe is whispering, more is coming. Even now, supply is rearranging itself to meet your openness. Even now, the law of increase is operating in your favor. Florence Scovel Shin said, no man can fail if he sees himself successful. And gratitude lets you see yourself as already blessed, already rich, already successful. You walk like one who has received. You speak like one who is full. You live like one who is loved. Say again with peaceful certainty, thank you, universe. Thank you, divine supply. Thank you for the endless flow of abundance that blesses my life. I am grateful. I am open. I am blessed. Gratitude completes the circuit. It tells the universe, delivery confirmed. It tells your soul, the blessing is already mine. And now you rest in peace, not the peace of waiting, but the peace of having. You rest knowing that everything you've spoken is now taking form. You rest in divine satisfaction because you know the flow is faithful, the supply is steady, the abundance is sure. So breathe softly, smile gently, and say one final time, I am grateful for the flow. Abundance is already mine. And as you say it, feel your heart expand with quiet joy, because now you live in the vibration of already done. Be still for a moment. Feel how far you've come, not in miles, but in vibration. You began as a seeker, and now you stand as a creator. You started by asking, and now you are commanding. You started hoping, and now you know. The energy has shifted. The air around you is alive with quiet certainty. You have spoken the word, and the word has become law. Say gently, I live in peaceful power. My word is law. My life is proof. There is no more striving. There is only allowing. There is no more waiting. There is only receiving. There is no more wishing, there is only knowing. Florence Scovel Shin said, your word is your wand. And now, your wand has worked its wonder. The spell of lack is broken. The illusion of unworthiness has faded. You see clearly now that you were never disconnected, only distracted. The power that creates worlds lives in you. And when you speak from that truth, mountains move and doors open. You are not commanding out of ego, you are commanding through divine alignment. You speak, and divine law fulfills it. You declare, and the unseen begins to arrange itself in your favor. Say softly, I am one with divine law. I am one with infinite supply. I am one with perfect timing. You no longer question if it's coming. You bless how it's coming. You no longer ask for signs, you become the sign. You no longer chase miracles, you embody them. Your calm is your command. Your gratitude is your magnet. Your peace is your proof. Say again, I live in peaceful power. My word is law. My life is proof. From this moment on, you walk differently. You carry yourself with the quiet dignity of someone who knows the law works in their favor. You make decisions from peace, not panic. You give from overflow, not obligation. You receive with joy, not guilt. You no longer ask the world to validate your power. You express it effortlessly. You no longer wait for permission to prosper. You live as one who is already chosen. Look around you. Everything is alive with response. Money begins to find its way into your hands. Opportunities begin to notice your vibration. People begin to feel your peace and reflect it back. Every part of life begins to echo your inner state, because now your life is not a request, it is a reflection. You are the decree made visible. You are the prayer answered in flesh. You are the word that became wealth, peace, and joy. Florence would say, none of these things move me, and neither will they move you. You are steady in your center. You are anchored in your truth. You are confident in your command. Say once more, I live in peaceful power. My word is law. My life is proof. Feel how those words hum in your spirit, calm, strong, radiant. You are no longer waiting for life to change. You are embodying the change. You are no longer hoping for miracles. You are walking as one. You are no longer trying to attract abundance. You are abundance itself in motion. From this point forward, every step you take carries the frequency of wealth. Every word you speak carries the vibration of creation. Every moment you live radiates divine prosperity. You are not the one chasing blessings. You are the one blessings chase. You are not the one pleading for supply. You are the one supply flows through. You are not the one lost in the world. You are the light the world was waiting for. And so you rest. You breathe. You smile. The decree is complete. The word has been spoken. The law is in motion. The flow is faithful. Say one last time, with peace and certainty, I live in peaceful power. My word is law. My life is proof. And let it echo through your soul, because from this moment forward, your words will not return void. Your good cannot be delayed, and your abundance cannot be denied. You are blessed. You are guided. You are abundant. You are free. And so it is, and it is done.
Every man's life is a mirror, reflecting the thoughts he thinks, the words he speaks, and the beliefs he holds to be true. There is no accident, no misstep, and no limitation except those accepted in the subconscious as law. If a man declares he is weak, the universe, being the faithful servant, responds with circumstances to prove him right. But when he dares to affirm his strength, his intelligence, his divine right to clarity and purpose, then the very forces of life bend themselves to open the path before him. So many drift, day after day, led not by vision but by habit. They repeat old stories, wear inherited fears, and follow worn-out patterns as though they are bound by invisible cords. But I say unto you, the cords are but thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. For the mind is a mighty magnet. What it holds fast, it draws into the outer world. If it clings to confusion, confusion comes. If it clings to wisdom, then wisdom walks through the door. To be truly smart in life is not simply to memorize facts or win arguments. It is to know the truth, and to stand upon it when the world seems to shake. It is to train the mind as a sacred tool, not to serve fear but to serve faith. A smart personality, a strong one, does not chase validation from the outside world, but radiates authority from within. You do not have to struggle to become smart. You have only to align. Align your thoughts with power, your words with clarity, and your choices with truth. What you say to yourself in secret becomes the law of your life. Many say, I can't change, and so they cannot. But the one who speaks the word of transformation with conviction opens a channel for divine intelligence to flow. The rules you are about to receive are not simply ideas, but keys. Keys that unlock doors long closed by doubt, fear, and limitation. They are not to be memorized and forgotten, but lived. Each rule is a step upon the invisible staircase that leads from confusion to confidence, from drifting to direction, from noise to knowing. The world is filled with loud voices, empty opinions, and hurried actions. But the one who seeks true intelligence, who seeks strength rooted in purpose, must be still enough to hear the inner guidance. That voice never shouts. It whispers. And it always leads aright. There is no competition in divine mind. There is only expression, and your highest self is already wise, already capable, already strong. These rules do not give you something you lack. They remove the veils that hide what you already are. You are not here to live an ordinary life. You are here to live a life of revelation, conviction, and purpose. As you receive each rule, speak inwardly. This is mine by divine right. I receive it, I believe it, I live it. For when man declares it and holds fast in faith, all of life rushes forward to obey. Your thoughts shape your reality. This is not merely a poetic idea or a spiritual abstraction. It is the fundamental law by which every person creates his or her world. The outer world is not the cause of your inner experience. Rather, the inner world of thought is the architect, the builder, and the lawgiver of your visible conditions. Every situation, every relationship, every opportunity, and every obstacle has been drawn into your life by the magnetic power of thought. Thoughts are not idle. They are seeds. What you plant in the soil of the mind will, in time and without fail, become the harvest of your experience. You cannot think fear and expect peace. You cannot dwell on lack and expect abundance. You cannot rehearse weakness and wonder why strength eludes you. The subconscious mind is a perfect servant. It accepts every word you speak, every image you hold, and every belief you nurture as law. It does not argue. It does not reason. It simply says yes, and carries out the command without question. The man who says, I always forget, soon finds his memory weakening. The woman who declares, nothing ever works out for me, walks into a life filled with evidence of failure. These are not punishments. They are fulfillments. Life does not mock us. It fulfills the orders we place, often unconsciously, through the persistent repetition of our thoughts. That is why the careless word, the flippant complaint, the silent worry, all carry power. And that is why true intelligence begins with the mastery of thought. There is no such thing as a neutral thought. Every thought carries vibration, and every vibration attracts its like. When you dwell on strength, courage, clarity, and joy. You invite people, ideas, and experiences into your life that match that frequency. When you indulge in thoughts of bitterness, jealousy, fear, or self-pity, you open the door to a darker reality, one that mirrors your inner conflict. You may not see the results immediately, for thoughts are seeds, and seeds take time to bear fruit. But rest assured, they never fail to bloom. The disciplined mind is the beginning of a strong and smart personality. Not a mind filled with rigid control, but a mind trained in truth. When a man chooses his thoughts with the same care he gives to his speech, his habits begin to change, his actions align with purpose, his words no longer sabotage him but become instruments of creation, his energy shifts, and people feel the difference without him saying a word. It is not enough to merely think positively for a few moments in the morning and then drift into anxiety by noon. The law of thought requires consistency, not perfection but faithfulness. The mind must be tended like a garden. If weeds of doubt and fear are allowed to grow unchecked, they will choke out the flowers of wisdom and clarity. But if one pulls the weeds daily, by replacing negative thoughts with affirming ones, by canceling every mental image of defeat and replacing it with a picture of triumph, then over time, the mind becomes fertile ground for success. One of the greatest misconceptions is that circumstances shape thought. But the wise understand that it is thought that shapes circumstance. Two people can face the same difficulty, one curses it, and it grows, the other blesses it, and it dissolves. Why? Because the second person does not identify with the condition. He recognizes it as temporary and refuses to give it power. His dominant thought is that of victory, and so victory finds him. Mental laziness is a common trap. The undisciplined mind wanders, worries, and wavers. It gets pulled into the world's chaos, distracted by gossip, fears, and predictions of doom. But the one who seeks to grow smarter must first grow still. Silence is the workshop of transformation. In the stillness, you can examine your thoughts without judgment. You can observe the patterns that have governed your choices. You can say to yourself, "This thought serves me," or "This thought no longer belongs." You become the master instead of the servant. The smart man is not the one who knows everything. He is the one who knows the law and uses it. He understands that the world does not respond to noise. It responds to vibration. And thought is vibration in its most concentrated form. It is the first cause, the invisible blueprint. The visible world is simply the result. The printout of the program you've been running inside your mind. Change the program and the printout must follow. There are those who say, "But I've been thinking good thoughts and nothing changes." But the truth is, the surface thought is not always the dominant one. You may speak words of success but harbor secret fear. You may visualize abundance while still believing in your unworthiness. The dominant thought is the one backed by emotion, repetition, and belief. It is the thought you return to again and again, especially when you are under pressure. That is the thought that shapes your reality. To change your outer world, you must go inward and change the roots. You must ask, what do I believe about myself, about life, about success, about others? For your thoughts are not floating in isolation. They are connected to deep currents of belief. When you find a belief that no longer serves you, cancel it, replace it. Speak a new word. Say, "I am no longer available for that old story," and repeat the new truth until it takes root. Thought is magnetic. That which you think about, you draw closer. If you think long enough and clearly enough about any desire, with faith it must appear. But you must think from the end, not from the lack of it. Don't say, "I hope one day I'll be strong." Say, "I am strong now." The subconscious does not understand someday. It understands only the present. That is why affirmations must be in the now. I am. I create. These are the thought forms of a smart personality. The transformation begins when you stop reacting to appearances and start acting from inner knowing. When things look chaotic, say, "This is clearing the way." When a door shuts, say, "Something better is on its way." The thought is the command. The world obeys. A smart person does not argue with appearances. He declares the truth, holds to it, and watches the world reorganize itself accordingly. Each thought is like a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. What kind of picture are you painting? Is it one of power, order, and beauty? Or is it one of confusion, lack, and frustration? You are the artist, whether you know it or not. If you don't like what you see, do not curse the canvas, change your brush. Select a new color, begin again not with force, but with awareness. A strong and smart personality is not born, it is built, one thought at a time. The law of mind works the same for all, regardless of background, education, or status. It is impartial, like gravity. You do not have to earn the right to use it. You simply must become conscious of it. When you wake up to the power of your own thought, you stop giving away your power. You stop blaming, complaining, or waiting. You begin to intend. You begin to direct. You begin to think with purpose. And that purpose begins to shape your reality like clay in the hands of the potter. True intelligence is alignment, not effort. It is not the frantic gathering of facts, the memorization of information, or the outward display of knowledge that makes one truly wise. Real intelligence is the inner harmony between thought, belief, word, and action. It is the ability to be so aligned with truth, with divine order, that right decisions, right people, and right timing unfold naturally, without force. The world teaches that effort is everything, that struggle is noble, and that grinding through life proves merit. But divine law teaches something higher, that alignment with truth removes resistance and allows intelligence to flow freely, effortlessly, and accurately. The man who is aligned with truth does not need to push. He does not need to manipulate, to convince, to fight his way to clarity. Instead, he tunes in, like a musician finding the right pitch. He adjusts his inner frequency until it matches the vibration of wisdom, peace, and strength. From that point of alignment, solutions appear without strain. The answers he once chased now come to him. The people he once tried to impress now feel drawn to him. The opportunities that seemed far off arrive without the exhaustion of pursuit. True intelligence comes not from trying to be smart, but from allowing intelligence to move through you. It is the deep knowing that does not argue. It is the calm certainty that does not compete. When the mind is aligned, the smallest idea can carry great power. When the mind is scattered, the most brilliant thought becomes diluted and confused. Intelligence is not in how loudly one speaks, but in how accurately one listens, to intuition, to guidance, to the silent promptings of divine mind. To align with truth is to clear away the noise. Most people are trying to think their way through life with minds full of fear, past stories, borrowed beliefs, and limiting assumptions. They layer thought upon thought, opinion upon opinion, until the inner channel is clogged. Then they wonder why their ideas don't work, why their plans fall apart, or why confusion clouds their judgment. But the wise one knows clarity is not something you create. It is something you reveal. Like wiping a foggy mirror, alignment clears the way so that truth may reflect through you with perfect accuracy. When a man is aligned, even the most complex problem is simplified. He does not try to calculate or analyze beyond his peace. He steps back inwardly and says, "There is an answer, and it is being revealed to me now." And because he has aligned his mind with faith rather than fear, the answer comes. Not always in the form he expected, not always on the schedule he demanded, but always with perfect timing and effect. That is intelligence. Not merely knowing facts, but knowing what to do with them, when to act, and when to wait. Alignment requires trust. The overthinker relies on effort, because he does not trust the unseen. He believes that unless he is constantly doing, calculating, and controlling, life will fall apart. But the truly smart individual knows that action without alignment is wasted energy. Effort without direction creates only exhaustion. Trust is not passivity, it is focused receptivity. It is choosing to believe that there is a greater intelligence operating through you and around you, and your task is not to outrun it but to align with it. There is a natural rhythm to all things. The tides, the seasons, the breath, the heartbeat. None of these require force. They operate according to divine timing. So too does the flow of intelligence. When you are in rhythm with divine mind, you say the right word without rehearsal, you meet the right person without searching, you read the right book at the right time. It is not chance. It is the fruit of alignment. You become an instrument tuned to the frequency of truth, and truth does not miss the mark. The world rewards effort, but the soul rewards alignment. The world may applaud the one who labors long hours and sacrifices peace for progress. But the soul knows when something is out of harmony. True intelligence honors that inner signal. It does not sacrifice joy for achievement, nor health for validation. A smart personality knows that productivity without purpose is hollow, and that wisdom without peace is unstable. When you are aligned, even rest becomes intelligent. Even silence becomes action. You cannot fake alignment. It is not an outer posture but an inner condition. It is not the smile you wear or the words you speak. It is the energy behind them. People feel when someone is aligned. They may not understand it consciously, but they are drawn to it. There is a calm authority, a quiet clarity, a presence that requires no announcement. Alignment speaks before you do. It walks into the room ahead of you. It organizes the atmosphere. And it cannot be mimicked by effort alone. Alignment brings speed without hurry. It brings accuracy without stress. The mind aligned with truth makes fewer mistakes because it is not operating from fear. Decisions made in fear are rushed, narrow, and reactive. Decisions made from alignment are steady, expansive, and effective. The aligned person can see the bigger picture. They are not caught in the swirl of urgency. They trust the process because they are aligned with the process. This kind of intelligence is available to everyone, but few seek it because the ego resists surrender. The ego prefers effort, because effort feels like control. But alignment requires surrender of the old stories, the limiting beliefs, the compulsive thoughts. It requires you to stop arguing with life and start cooperating with it. It asks you to release your grip on the how and focus on the what. The how belongs to divine mind. Your task is to remain aligned with the vision, the truth, the essence of what you desire. You align by letting go. You align by choosing stillness over struggle. You align by choosing clarity over clutter. The strong and smart personality is not the one who pushes hardest, but the one who is most attuned. They do not need to chase success, for success is drawn to alignment. They do not need to force relationships, for the right ones come with ease. They do not need to impress, because their presence speaks truth. True intelligence is the quiet power behind inspired action. It is the knowing that precedes the doing. It is the state of being that magnetizes solutions, connections, and breakthroughs. The aligned individual is not frantic or frantic seeming. They are steady, grounded, clear. Their intelligence is not loud, but it is unmistakable. They do not waste energy on proving. They simply are. Effort may achieve temporary results, but alignment creates lasting impact. It sustains the journey without burnout. It opens doors that effort alone cannot. It brings the right people at the right time, because those people are also aligned. There is no competition in true intelligence, for there is room for all in the divine design. Each aligned individual is a unique expression, and in that uniqueness they are irreplaceable. They do not need to compete. They need only to be clear and stay clear. Thought, feeling, word, and action. When these are in agreement, you are aligned. When you think one thing, feel another, speak a third, and act in contradiction, you are fragmented. Fragmentation creates resistance. Alignment creates flow. In the flow of alignment, intelligence is not something you access. It is something you become. Words have power. Speak only what you desire. Every word is a decree, a seed planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind, and whether spoken casually, passionately, or unconsciously, it begins to take root. Most people are unaware of the immense creative force that rests in their tongue. They speak out of habit, emotion, or imitation, not realizing that every word sets spiritual law into motion. The universe is always listening, and it does not distinguish between a joke, a complaint, or a declaration. It responds to vibration, to intent, to energy behind the word. When you say, I am tired, I am unlucky, I can't, you are not simply describing a moment. You are affirming a condition, granting it identity and persistence. The phrase, I am, is the most powerful opening in speech because it invokes the name of being, the divine presence within. Whatever follows, I am, begins to take shape in your experience. When you say, I am confused, the law begins to show you more confusion. When you say, I am always late, life arranges itself to prove you right. This is not superstition. It is law, unfailing and neutral, responding with exact precision to your own affirmations. The wise one watches their words as a sculptor watches each movement of the chisel. Words carve reality. They create bridges or barriers. They summon or repel. Words are never lost, they move outward and return, often multiplied. That is why careless speech is not harmless. It may seem small to say, I never win, or nobody listens to me. But these words are magnetic. They draw toward you the very things you claim to reject. The subconscious does not know humor, it knows repetition. It does not judge whether something is good or bad, helpful or harmful. It only knows. This is what you have said. Therefore it must be so. To speak wisely is to live wisely. The one who controls their tongue begins to control their life. This is not about silence. It is about precision. It is about speaking only that which builds, blesses, and aligns with your true desires. If you want peace, speak peace. If you want strength, declare strength. If you want clarity, affirm clarity. Do not describe your life as it is, speak it as you wish it to be. The spoken word is not merely descriptive, it is directive. It sets things in motion, both within you and around you. There is a vibratory field that surrounds every word. Some words carry the frequency of healing, and when spoken, they calm the atmosphere and lift the energy. Others carry the vibration of fear, and they lower the frequency of the room. The words you use not only affect your own consciousness, but also those around you. A harsh word spoken in frustration can linger long after the moment has passed. A word of encouragement can awaken hidden strength in someone's heart. Words are not passive, they are tools, instruments, forces. To build a smart and strong personality, one must become a master of their own language. This mastery begins not with the outer voice, but with the inner dialogue. What are you saying to yourself when no one else is listening? Are you building or breaking? Are you affirming your strength or reinforcing your weakness? The inner speech is often more powerful than anything said aloud, because it is constant and unquestioned. To align with power, you must discipline your inner voice. You must catch every negative phrase and replace it with truth. You must stop narrating your limitations and start scripting your liberation. It is not enough to wish for something while speaking against it. Many people say, I want success, and then constantly speak of how hard life is, how competitive the world has become, how unlucky they have been. This contradiction splits their energy and cancels their power. The universe listens not to what you want, but to what you affirm. Your dominant declaration becomes your reality. If you desire something, speak only in alignment with that desire. Do not mix your message with doubt. Do not dilute your word with contradiction. Words also carry the energy of faith or fear. When you speak with faith, you speak with certainty, with authority, with creative command. When you speak with fear, you scatter your energy, you weaken your intention, and you invite confusion. Faith-filled words carry weight. They settle into the subconscious like sacred commands. They do not beg or plead, they declare. They do not wait for evidence, they become the evidence. The smart individual understands that the word spoken with faith is like a key that unlocks the next door. It is a signal that says, this is what I believe, this is what I accept, and this is what I now receive. The discipline of the word is also the discipline of attention. You must pay attention to what comes out of your mouth. If you speak habitually, you live habitually. If you speak with intention, you live intentionally. This does not mean every sentence must be perfect, but it does mean you must choose your language as you would choose your companions. with discernment, with awareness, with purpose. Speak less of what you fear and more of what you love. Speak less of the problem and more of the solution. Speak less of the past and more of what is becoming. Many people rehearse their pain by repeating it endlessly in conversation. They tell the same story of betrayal, of lack, of loss, over and over, not realizing that the story itself becomes their prison. The more you tell a story, the more it becomes etched into your identity. The more you relive it in words, the more you anchor it in your reality. The path to liberation is not found in telling the old story better, but in speaking a new story altogether. Say, that was then, this is now. I am writing a new script. I am speaking new words. I am stepping into a new frequency. Bless your life with your words. Bless your body. Bless your path. Bless your finances, your relationships, your mind. Speak words of praise over your journey, even before you see the results. The spoken word prepares the soil for manifestation. What you speak today becomes the atmosphere of tomorrow. Say, everything is working for me. Say, I am guided, I am protected, I am favored. Say, the right people are finding me. The right doors are opening. The right timing is unfolding. These are not fantasies. They are the verbal blueprints of your future reality. Even in moments of challenge, do not let your words fall into fear. Say, this too shall pass. Say, there is something good in this, and I am finding it. Say, nothing is working against me. Everything is leading me closer to my highest good. These words create spiritual traction. They lift you above the appearance and align you with the truth. They remind you that you are not a victim of circumstance, but a creator with divine authority. The one who learns to speak with power cannot stay in weakness for long. The energy of their word becomes the energy of their world. Words shape thought, and thought shapes reality. When you begin to speak differently, you begin to think differently. And when your thinking changes, your choices change. You no longer settle. You no longer repeat cycles. You no longer tolerate what doesn't serve your highest vision. Your word becomes law in your life, and that law begins to attract a new pattern, a new rhythm, a new result. Energy is contagious. Protect your inner atmosphere. Every human being carries an energy field, invisible to the physical eye but deeply felt by the intuition. This energy is not abstract, it is real, it is magnetic, and it influences every interaction, every decision, and every outcome in your life. Just as a room can feel warm or heavy without a word being spoken, so too can a person carry lightness or weight in their energy, and that energy either uplifts or drains. To build a strong and smart personality, you must understand that your inner atmosphere, your emotional and spiritual climate, must be guarded with the same care as your physical space. People often guard their time, their money, their possessions, but leave their energy unprotected. They allow anyone to speak into their space, to dump fears, to sow doubt, to criticize dreams, to agitate peace. This is not compassion, this is unconsciousness. You were not created to be a dumping ground for the world's confusion. You are not here to carry the emotional baggage of others while sacrificing your own alignment. To protect your energy is to honor the divine within you. It is to recognize that not every voice deserves access, not every presence deserves entrance, and not every invitation deserves acceptance. Sensitivity is not weakness, it is awareness. The one who feels deeply is not fragile, they are finely tuned. They perceive subtleties, they absorb vibration, they read silence. But without protection, sensitivity becomes a burden. You must learn to filter energy the way the body filters toxins, consciously, regularly, and with sacred boundaries. You cannot grow if your field is clouded. You cannot hear divine guidance if your mind is full of noise from others. You cannot manifest peace if your atmosphere is polluted with chaos. Protecting your energy is not rejection. It is redirection. It is choosing not to engage with what drains, distracts, or distorts. It is not about judgment, it is about clarity. There are people who will not understand your vision, not because they are bad, but because they are not meant to. There are conversations that will not nourish you, environments that will not elevate you, and energies that will not harmonize with you. Your task is not to convince or convert, but to remain aligned. You do not owe your presence to every situation. You do not owe your explanation to every opinion. There are energies that uplift. The laughter of a true friend, the stillness of early morning, the words of wisdom that stir the soul, these fill your cup. They strengthen your field. They charge your atmosphere. And there are energies that deplete. The constant complainer, the fearful doubter, the critical whisperer. These do not merely speak, they extract. Every interaction is an exchange. You must learn to ask, what am I receiving, and what am I giving? Is this leaving me clearer or cloudier? Stronger or smaller, aligned or scattered? Your inner atmosphere is like a garden. If you leave it untended, weeds will grow, worry, resentment, confusion, fatigue. These are not signs of failure, they are signs of neglect. They are the result of external influence entering without permission. To tend the garden is to begin each day with clarity. It is to meditate, to pray, to affirm, to breathe, to align before the world pulls you in 1,000 directions. It is to check in with your spirit before checking in with your screen. It is to ask, how do I feel right now? Is this mine, or have I absorbed something from someone else? You must learn to return to yourself again and again. Throughout the day, not all noise is yours. Not all anxiety belongs to you. Many carry the emotions of others without knowing it, like wearing someone else's coat and wondering why it does not fit. Empaths, dreamers, healers, those who are open-hearted often become energetic sponges, soaking in the fear of the collective, the wounds of their loved ones, the chaos of the culture. But awareness brings choice. You can feel deeply without being overwhelmed. You can hold space without losing your own center. You can love others while still protecting your own light. Energy is contagious, and so is peace. When your field is clear, others feel it. Your presence calms, your words heal, your silence speaks, but you cannot share what you do not have. You must first become a sanctuary before you can offer sanctuary to others. You must first dwell in your own peace before you can lead others into theirs. This is not selfishness. It is stewardship. You are not here to burn out in the name of being helpful. You are here to radiate from overflow, not depletion. There will be days when your energy is challenged, when chaos presses in, when emotions rise, when others try to provoke or pull you. These are the tests of your alignment. In these moments, do not react. Retreat inward, breathe, pause. Declare, I protect my peace. I release what is not mine. I return to center. This is not escape, it is mastery. The strong and smart personality knows when to engage and when to step back. They know that not every battle is theirs, not every comment deserves a reply, and not every invitation deserves a yes. Discernment is the guardian of energy. Discernment does not ask. It asks, is this aligned? Not every exciting opportunity is meant for you. Not every emotional appeal is wise. Not every passionate conversation is fruitful. The discerning individual knows that energy is currency, and they spend it with purpose. They do not allow their field to be hijacked by urgency or drama. They remain rooted, grounded, clear. Clearing your field is as important as guarding it. Throughout the day, cleanse your energy the way you cleanse your hands. Breathe deeply. Visualize light moving through you. Affirm your alignment. Let go of what is not yours. Speak release. Declare clarity. Whether you walk in nature, sit in stillness, or move your body, do something to reset the flow. Just as the body accumulates toxins, the spirit accumulates residue. The act of clearing is not luxury. It is necessity. There are times when even loved ones carry heavy energy. To protect your field does not mean you withdraw love. It means you hold love from a place of strength. You can be compassionate without being consumed. You can support without absorbing. You can listen without merging. Set the intention, I love them, but I do not carry what is not mine. I bless them, but I remain in my light. I hold them in grace, but I choose to stay clear. Your energy is your responsibility. You are the gatekeeper. No one else can manage your inner atmosphere for you. The world will always have noise, confusion, opinion, pressure. But your peace is your power. When your energy is clean, your decisions are clear. When your atmosphere is protected, your intuition is accurate. When your spirit is undisturbed, your strength becomes undeniable. Even the environments you enter have an energetic influence. Spaces carry memory. Rooms hold vibration. Before you enter, pause and check in. Declare, I bring peace into this place. I do not absorb, I transform. I move through this space as a carrier of clarity. When your field is strong, you become the thermostat, not the thermometer. You set the tone, rather than react to it. You walk in power, not in passive reception. Relationships will test your energy. Conversations will invite you into lower frequencies. Social settings may tempt you to shrink or perform. But the one who has done the inner work knows how to hold their field. They know how to remain authentic in the midst of performance. They know how to stay rooted while others sway. They do not speak from reaction but from revelation. They do not mirror chaos. They reflect light. Their presence is medicine, not noise. Their energy speaks before their words do. Stillness is the highest intelligence. In the stillness, the noise of the outer world fades, and the voice of the inner world rises. Most people are swept away by the current of urgency, movement, and distraction, mistaking constant motion for meaningful progress. They believe that if they are busy, they are building something. But true strength is not born from busyness. It is born in the silence between the breaths, in the pause between thoughts, in the sacred space where nothing is forced and everything is heard. The smart and strong personality does not react from chaos. It responds from clarity. And clarity comes not from overthinking, but from stillness. This stillness is not inactivity. It is not laziness, nor is it passivity. It is the state of deep alignment with self and source, where action flows from wisdom, and wisdom is born from observation, not impulse. Stillness is where the shallow waters of mind chatter quiet down, and the deeper waters of intuition rise. In a world that glorifies noise, stillness becomes rebellion. To sit quietly, to do nothing outwardly, to simply be, is seen as unproductive by those who are ruled by the outer world. But in truth, nothing is more powerful than the one who can dwell in stillness without fear. That one is not seeking validation, not addicted to performance, not moved by comparison. They have accessed a state of inner sovereignty that cannot be purchased, imitated, or stolen. It is cultivated in silence, nourished in solitude, refined through self-awareness. Most people fear stillness because they have never made peace with themselves. They use noise to escape what stillness reveals. But the one who desires growth must pass through that gate. They must sit with their thoughts, face their fears, listen to their own breath, and allow the discomfort to rise. For in that rising it begins to dissolve. Stillness does not suppress, it purifies. It shows you what needs to be seen, what needs to be released, and what longs to be remembered. The strong personality is not the loudest in the room. It is the one who knows when to speak and when to stay silent. It is the one who has access to silence, even in the midst of a storm. Stillness becomes a sanctuary, a personal temple within. In that temple, answers arrive without effort. Ideas come with ease. Creativity flows not through force but through openness. This is the intelligence of stillness. It allows the soul to speak in its own language. Stillness heightens perception. When you are still, you notice what others miss. You hear the tone behind the words. You see the patterns others are blind to. You sense energy shifts before they become visible. Stillness turns you into a silent observer, and observation brings wisdom. The one who observes does not get entangled in drama. They do not jump to conclusions. They watch, wait, and then act with precision. Their timing becomes impeccable because they are not rushing. They are aligned. In the stillness, you realize that many battles are illusions. Many fears are echoes. Many urgencies are distractions in disguise. You begin to separate what is essential from what is noise. You begin to let go of things that once felt important, but are now seen as shallow echoes of your old self. Stillness reveals the difference between reaction and response. Reaction is driven by emotion, fear, and ego. Response is born from stillness, intention, and inner truth. The smartest individuals are those who know how to pause. Before answering, they pause. Before making a choice, they go inward. They trust the silence to speak. In that pause, they bypass confusion and arrive at truth. They are not afraid of being misunderstood. Not afraid of appearing slow, because they know that wisdom is not rushed. It arrives in its own time, through its own channel, and only in the still mind can it be received. Stillness also teaches you patience. In the silence, you learn that not everything needs to be fixed. Not every situation needs your control. Some things need space. Some solutions emerge when you stop chasing them. Some truths unfold when you stop trying to shape them. The still person becomes a vessel through which divine timing flows. They are not stagnant. They are surrendered. They do not force doors open. They wait until the door that is truly theirs swings wide without resistance. To cultivate stillness is to reclaim your energy. Most of your energy is lost in scattered thoughts, fragmented focus, unnecessary conversations, and digital distractions. In stillness, the pieces of your energy return. Your mind slows, your emotions settle, your nervous system relaxes. Your body softens. You begin to access reserves of strength and insight that were buried beneath the clutter. You become more whole, more grounded, more magnetic. Stillness is the foundation of true intelligence, because it reconnects you to the higher intelligence that flows through all things. In stillness, you realize you are not separate. You are part of something vast, ordered, and wise. The answers you seek are not far, they are waiting in the silence. But you must be willing to stop, to listen, to receive. In a world that screams, whispering becomes sacred. In a world that races, resting becomes radical. In a world that clings, letting go becomes liberation. The mind will resist stillness at first. It will stir, argue, distract, agitate. This is natural, it has been trained for noise. But stillness is not about forcing the mind to stop. It is about watching it without attachment. Let the thoughts come, and let them pass. Sit with the discomfort. Breathe through the restlessness. Over time, the noise settles like sediment in water, and the clarity emerges. And in that clarity, you begin to see with new eyes, hear with new ears, feel with new depth. Stillness also sharpens intuition. When the external world is quiet, the internal compass becomes audible. You begin to feel the yes and the no. You begin to trust the nudge, the pull, the subtle knowing that defies logic. The more still you become, the more sensitive you are to divine guidance. You no longer need to ask others for every answer. You start to receive your own. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is remembering that the same intelligence that governs the stars also lives in you, and it speaks not in shouts but in whispers. In stillness, you also make peace with timing. You stop comparing your journey to others. You understand that growth is cyclical. That sometimes you are meant to bloom, and sometimes you are meant to rest. That the seasons of your life have rhythm, and you don't have to rush the unfolding. This patience becomes power. It becomes resilience. It becomes grace. Stillness creates space, and space is necessary for creation. A cluttered mind cannot innovate. A restless heart cannot love freely. A hurried soul cannot connect deeply. In stillness, space is made, space for healing, space for ideas, space for miracles. The smartest life is not the one filled with the most noise. It is the one rooted in the deepest silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of presence. The silence where the truth of who you are can finally be heard. Money is not a master but a servant, a divine idea awaiting your command. It is not a lifeless coin nor a mere number in a ledger, but a living symbol of substance, ever responsive to the thought you hold and the word you speak. Too long has humanity feared money, chased it, doubted it, or spoken against it. Yet money, like all of life, moves in obedience to the law of mind. What you decree with certainty, it must perform. The world teaches that money is hard to come by, that it requires toil, strain, and endless sacrifice. But the truth whispers another story. Money is but energy in form, waiting for your recognition of its source. It is born of infinite supply, and infinite supply knows no lack. When you align with the law of abundance, You step into a river that flows ceaselessly, and every drop of it seeks to bless you. You are not a beggar at the gates of chance. You are heir to the kingdom of plenty. To command your money to multiply, you must first command your own words and thoughts. The spoken word carries life, and what you declare becomes flesh. If you say, "I never have enough," the law of your word makes it so. If you say, "Money flows to me freely, easily, endlessly," the same law obeys, and substance hastens to clothe itself in visible form. The universe is a mirror, reflecting not what you wish but what you know. Therefore, know your good, speak your good, and your good must appear. Imagine money as a faithful servant standing silently at your side. It waits, it listens. It watches for your decree. If you treat it with fear, suspicion, or contempt, it recoils. If you bless it, honor it, and command it with authority, it leaps to fulfill its purpose. Money is not wicked nor holy. It is obedient. And obedience demands a master who knows how to speak. Plant your words as seeds in the rich soil of mind. Say, "Every dollar I touch returns to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." Let no careless word of lack uproot that seed. Guard your speech as the farmer guards his field, for weeds of doubt grow quicker than corn. And remember, the harvest comes not by watching the sky in worry, but by resting in faith that the soil knows its work. Money multiplies when it moves, for stagnation is death. Release it joyfully, and it circles back with friends. Hoard it in fear, and it shrinks to dust. Give with a willing heart, and you open the floodgates for return. Command with love, not grasping, with certainty, not pleading. For money is spirit in action, and spirit knows no withholding. To command your money is to command life itself. It is to stand in the authority of truth and say, "I am one with infinite supply. My wealth is limitless, my riches overflow. That which I send forth returns multiplied." Thus you do not chase money, you summon it. You do not labor for it, you call it. And as surely as the echo answers the voice, it must come. Money is a servant, not a master. When we begin to see money in its rightful place, as a tool, a symbol, and an obedient messenger of divine supply, we free ourselves from the chains of fear and worship that so often surround it. Too many souls have bowed down before money as if it were a tyrant, giving it power over their emotions, their decisions, their peace of mind. Others have despised it, declaring it evil, unworthy, or corrupt, and in doing so, they have unconsciously cast away their own good. The truth lies beyond these extremes. Money has no power of its own. It is like a mirror reflecting the consciousness of the one who wields it. When treated as a master, it enslaves. When commanded as a servant, it obeys. To understand this law is to understand freedom. Imagine a household where the servant has taken the master's chair, dictating the rules and commanding the owner. Such a home would fall into disorder and confusion, for roles would be reversed. This is what occurs when people allow money to dictate the quality of their lives. They say, "I cannot do this because I have not enough," or, "If only I had money, then I would be free." In such statements, they give money authority that belongs only to spirit. Spirit is the true source of all supply, the wellspring that never runs dry. Money is merely one of its many channels, an expression of abundance clothed in visible form. The master is always spirit, and you, as a channel of spirit, hold the authority to direct money into right action. The servant never argues, it listens and responds. If you instruct money with thoughts of lack, it obeys and multiplies lack. If you instruct it with confidence, blessing, and authority, it hastens to serve your good. To treat money as a servant is not to belittle it, but to honor its role. The servant is faithful, loyal, and reliable when the master is strong, clear, and loving in command. So too, money serves the one who stands firm in the truth of abundance. Consider the way fear binds humanity to money as master. People worry endlessly. What if it runs out? What if I cannot earn enough? What if I lose it? This fear turns money into a taskmaster, driving men and women into drudgery, robbing them of joy, health, and freedom. They rise early, labor long, and sleep uneasily, not because work itself is unworthy, but because they believe their security rests upon money. Yet security never rests upon the servant. The servant may change form, move through different hands, or vanish from sight for a season. But the true master, spirit, infinite supply, remains unshaken, eternal, and abundant. When one anchors in this truth, fear dissolves, and money takes its rightful place as a channel of service. Money does not create wealth. Consciousness creates wealth. A soul rich in awareness of divine supply can lose every coin and still draw riches again, for the source flows within, not without. Meanwhile, a soul impoverished in thought may grasp great sums yet find them slipping away, for their fear and unworthiness poison the servant's service. Money will mirror the inner law. If the inner law declares mastery, abundance flows with ease. If the inner law declares servitude to money, then bondage and worry must follow. To see money as servant is also to release guilt and resistance around it. Many have been taught that money is suspect, that it corrupts, that holiness and wealth cannot walk together. Yet does the sun not shine on the rich and the poor alike? Does not the earth yield fruit in abundance, without judgment or restraint? Money, like sunlight and water, is a form of energy. It carries no sin, no stain, unless the one who wields it uses it to bind rather than bless. When commanded rightly, money becomes a servant of love, freedom, generosity, and creation. It builds homes, feeds the hungry, clothes the naked, and brings beauty into form. When despised or feared, it withers in its purpose. The master of money must be one who speaks with authority. Authority is not arrogance, it is the calm certainty of truth. To say, money is my servant, and it obeys my command, is to recognize divine law. Just as the seed obeys the farmer, just as the river obeys gravity, so money obeys the consciousness that governs it. If you declare, I cannot afford it, you place the servant in chains and strip yourself of authority. If instead you declare, infinite supply meets this need through perfect channels, and money flows to fulfill its purpose, then the servant rushes to perform. Imagine money as a loyal worker waiting at your gate, hands folded, ready for orders. If you ignore it, it idles. If you scorn it, it departs. If you fear it, it resists. But if you instruct it with clarity, it labors tirelessly, bringing back the fruit of your decree. The master must not hesitate, for hesitation confuses the servant. Speak clearly, speak firmly, and speak with faith. Faith is the command that seals the order. Doubt is the revocation that cancels it. Money, like any servant, thrives in circulation. A servant cannot serve if locked in a room, and money cannot serve if hoarded in fear. To command money is to direct its movement with wisdom. Go forth to bless, to create, to multiply, and return to me increased. When sent with love, it carries love. When sent with fear, it carries loss. The master understands that every act of giving is not depletion but instruction, a command that money return with greater measure. In truth, mastery over money is mastery over self. The one who fears, envies, or worships money reveals a heart unanchored in supply. The one who stands in quiet authority, blessing money as servant and directing it to holy use, reveals a heart aligned with the source of all. When the inner throne is restored, when spirit is master, and the individual takes their rightful seat of authority, then money finds its place as faithful servant. Words spoken about money shape its flow. Every word carries vibration, and vibration summons form. To speak of lack is to invite lack. To speak of abundance is to draw abundance nearer. The universe does not question your meaning. It only answers your tone, your decree, your affirmation. When you say, I am always broke, or I never seem to get ahead, those words travel like seeds into the soil of mind, and the soil, being ever fertile, returns them as harvest. The tongue, though small, turns the course of life as surely as a rudder turns a ship. You may not notice the immediate shift, but word by word, decree by decree, the invisible becomes visible, and the invisible is shaped by what is spoken. Money is particularly sensitive to speech because it is a symbol of flow. Flow responds to the channels created by thought and language. When you declare that money is hard to earn, the flow narrows, for you have created a narrow channel. When you speak that money arrives easily, joyfully, And continuously, the flow widens, for you have created a broad and generous channel. The law does not resist, it obeys. If the command is fearful, it obeys fear. If the command is confident, it obeys confidence. This is why two individuals standing side by side in the same world, with the same opportunities, may experience entirely different outcomes. One blesses money, speaks well of it, and it hastens to serve. The other curses money, declares it scarce, and it flees from their hand. Consider how often careless words are spoken without thought. A sigh escapes, "I can't afford it," or a complaint arises, "Money slips through my fingers." Each statement is a decree, and the servant of supply rushes to fulfill it. The soil of the subconscious accepts every word as law. It does not filter whether the decree is for good or ill. It simply says, "So be it." A careless joke, a habitual phrase, a repeated lament. All are commands sent forth to shape reality. Therefore the wise one watches the words that leave their lips, for words are not empty. Words are seeds. Words are commands. Words are forces that move unseen substance into visible shape. To understand this principle is to wield a powerful key. You may turn at once from poverty consciousness to wealth consciousness by changing your speech. Declare, "I always have more than enough. Money flows to me richly and in perfect ways. Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied." These words, when spoken with conviction, plant new seeds, new channels, new directions for the flow of money. They may seem simple, even not a V, yet the soil of the subconscious knows no argument. It accepts the words spoken often, spoken with feeling, spoken with certainty. Think of words as garments dressing the invisible. Spirit is formless, yet it needs shape to manifest in the visible world. Your words give it clothing. When you say, "I prosper," you clothe spirit in prosperity. When you say, "I lack," you clothe spirit in absence. The invisible substance is obedient, waiting only for the garment of your decree. It does not question whether you truly desire what you speak. It only moves into the form that words provide. That is why idle words are never idle in effect. They linger, they gather, they take root, and they return as experience. There is great danger in repeated negative confessions. The mind loves rhythm, repetition, familiarity. If you repeat long enough, "I never have enough," the subconscious adopts it as law, and soon reality bends to it. But there is equally great power in repeated positive declarations. The mind that hears often, "Money blesses me and I bless money. It flows to me freely and joyfully," begins to accept it as natural truth. Then opportunities appear, ideas arise, and money moves in alignment with the decree. The outer world rearranges itself to match the word planted within. Words not only shape your own flow of money, they also shape how money responds to others around you. When you speak well of another's prosperity, you align yourself with the same current. To envy or curse another's wealth is to shut the channel for your own. Words of blessing keep the flow open. Words of jealousy shut it tight. When you say, "Their wealth proves mine is possible," you join the stream. When you say, "Why should they have and not I?" you step outside the stream. Blessing multiplies, cursing divides. The spoken word is never neutral. It is always creating or diminishing, opening or closing. To direct money with words requires not only affirmation but consistency. It is not enough to speak abundance in the morning and cancel it with doubt in the afternoon. Each contradiction uproots the seed. The soil is faithful, but the gardener must also be faithful. Hold your speech steady, align it with truth. Let no shadow word undo the light. Speak abundance not only when it is easy, but when appearances suggest the opposite. That is when the decree has greatest power. To say, "I am rich," while pockets seem empty, is to command substance in the face of illusion, and illusion must bow to truth. Guard also against speaking in jest against money. The subconscious does not laugh, it records. A jest about being poor is still a decree. A casual remark about being broke is still a command. Let your humor be rich, let your laughter affirm joy, but do not lace it with decrees of lack. Every word carries weight, whether whispered, shouted, or joked. The universe is a perfect listener, and it always replies with form. Speech not only shapes money but shapes your relationship to money. If you call it difficult, it becomes difficult. If you call it easy, it becomes easy. If you call it your faithful servant, it obeys. If you call it your elusive master, it rules you. The words you choose are the relationship you build. Speak as one who commands, not as one who begs. Speak as one who blesses, not as one who condemns. Speak as one who knows, not as one who doubts. Then money hears and flows accordingly. Bless and command money with authority. Money responds to the energy of blessing because blessing is recognition of its rightful place in divine order. When you bless money, you lift it from the realm of fear and mistrust into the realm of gratitude and joy. Many people speak against money without realizing they are cursing their own supply. They say, "It goes too quickly," or "It is never enough," or "It brings trouble." Such words are curses, and money, being obedient, responds accordingly. But when you bless money, when you say, "You are a faithful servant, you multiply in my hands, you flow to me with ease," you set it free to fulfill its divine assignment. Money is not lifeless matter, it is energy clothed in form, and energy takes its cue from thought and word. To bless is to acknowledge the good in what is before you. Even the smallest coin, when blessed, holds the vibration of increase. The widow's mite, offered in faith, multiplied beyond measure. The loaf and fish, blessed and broken, became food for thousands. Blessing multiplies, because it recognizes the presence of infinite supply in visible form. Each time you hold money in your hand, you have the choice to see lack or to see abundance. If you complain, you close the channel. If you bless, you widen it. The blessing acts as a magnet, drawing more of the same vibration into your life. Commanding money with authority is the next step beyond blessing. Blessing acknowledges the good. Commanding directs it. Authority is not force, not strain, not grasping. It is the calm certainty of law. Just as the farmer commands the seed by planting it in soil, just as the captain commands the ship by setting its course, so you command money by decreeing its purpose and direction. Say to your money, "Go forth and return multiplied." Serve love, serve joy, serve freedom. In doing so, you release it into circulation with a definite order, and it must fulfill the decree. Money loves direction. Without command, it wanders or stagnates. With command, it becomes purposeful and fruitful. Authority over money begins within the consciousness of the one who speaks. The timid soul who whispers commands with doubt does not see results, for the authority is not yet claimed. True authority comes from alignment with the source of supply. The individual who knows that infinite spirit is the true owner of all wealth, and that they are heir to that wealth, speaks with the voice of law. Their words carry weight because they are spoken in truth. They do not plead, they decree. They do not beg, they affirm. This authority is quiet, firm, and unshakable, and money hastens to obey. Many shrink from the idea of commanding money because they believe it arrogant or materialistic. Yet to command rightly is to bring money into harmony with divine law. The master commands the servant not out of cruelty, but out of order. A servant left without instruction is wasted potential. Money left without command is wasted energy. By commanding money, you give it holy employment. You direct it toward increase, toward circulation, toward blessing. When you say, "Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied," you are not grasping but guiding. You are not forcing but aligning. The words of command must be consistent and intentional. One moment of blessing cannot undo years of careless curses unless it is held firm with repetition and faith. Speak to your money daily. Speak to it when it comes, speak to it when it goes, speak to it even when it seems absent. Hold a coin, a note, a check, and say, "You are blessed. You are multiplied, you are a servant of good." Each word charges the substance with vibration, and vibration attracts its like. Over time, the pattern shifts and money begins to behave differently in your life. It lingers longer, grows larger, returns faster, because you have taught it its role. Authority requires watchfulness over inner speech as well as outer speech. It is not enough to command aloud if your thoughts contradict silently. If you speak blessing with your lips but harbor fear in your heart, the vibration is mixed and the result is confusion. Purity of command comes from inner agreement. Train your thoughts as you train your words. When the thought of lack arises, answer it with command. Infinite supply cannot fail. Money is my servant and returns to me multiplied. The repetition of inner command strengthens outer authority until both align in perfect faith. Blessing and commanding money also transforms your relationship with giving and receiving. Without blessing, giving feels like loss, and receiving feels like struggle. With blessing, giving is a command for multiplication, and receiving is the fulfillment of law. Each transaction becomes sacred, each exchange becomes circulation. Money is no longer a cause of anxiety but a channel of joy. You bless it as it leaves, knowing it must return, and you bless it as it arrives, knowing it comes to serve. This cycle builds trust, and trust strengthens authority. There is power in ritualizing your blessings and commands. Some hold their wallet or purse and speak words of increase. Others write affirmations and place them with their money. Still others speak aloud over checks, bills, or coins. The form does not matter. The intention does. Each act of blessing imprints the subconscious, and the subconscious imprints reality. What begins as deliberate practice becomes effortless habit, and soon every interaction with money is laced with blessing and authority. Those who master blessing and command discover that money begins to seek them. Opportunities arise unbidden, gifts arrive unexpectedly. Channels open in ways they could not have planned. This is not chance, it is the obedient response of substance to the voice of authority. The world may call it luck, but it is law. The one who blesses calls forth increase, the one who commands directs its flow. Together, blessing and command turn money into a faithful servant, tireless, obedient, and multiplying without end. Circulation multiplies wealth, stagnation diminishes it. Money, like water, was made to move. The river that flows is clear, fresh, and abundant, while the pond that sits in stillness without outlet grows stagnant and fall. So it is with money. When held too tightly in fear, money loses its power to serve, to expand, to bless. But when released with wisdom and faith, it moves in ever-widening circles, returning again and again, each time increased. Circulation is the secret law of multiplication, and those who understand it live in a constant rhythm of giving and receiving. The mind trained in lack resists circulation. It says, I must hold on to what I have, or I will lose it. Yet that very act of hoarding interrupts the natural law of flow. The tighter the grip, the less can enter the hand. Fear of loss becomes the magnet for loss, and what was clutched begins to dwindle. But the consciousness of abundance says, I release this freely, and it returns multiplied. Such a declaration honors circulation, and circulation fulfills its promise. Each dollar given in faith goes out as seed, planted in the soil of the universe, destined to sprout and multiply. Money thrives in motion because motion reflects life. The universe itself is circulation, day flowing into night, tides moving in and out, seasons turning endlessly. Breath itself is a rhythm of circulation, inhale, exhale, receive, release. To breathe without exhaling is impossible. To hoard the breath is to suffocate. So too with money. To receive without giving is stagnation, and stagnation diminishes life. The one who learns to give freely, to let money move joyfully, lives in harmony with the greater law, and that law always ensures return. Circulation does not mean careless spending or wasteful indulgence. It means conscious release, guided by blessing and command. To circulate money is to send it forth with intention. This money goes to bless, to increase, to return multiplied. Each bill paid, each gift given, each purchase made is an act of sowing. When the seed is sown with joy, the harvest is inevitable. To give grudgingly is to plant in barren soil, but to give with gladness is to plant in fertile ground. The consciousness with which money leaves determines the condition in which it returns. Many fear that to give is to lessen their supply. Yet giving is never depletion, it is investment in circulation. The farmer does not lament the loss of seed when he scatters it upon the field. He knows it must return manyfold. So it is with money. Every dollar released in faith is a seed sown, and the soil of infinite supply never fails to bring harvest. The only difference lies in the attitude of the sower. Those who give sparingly reap sparingly, those who give generously reap generously. Not because of favoritism, but because circulation answers the measure of trust. Circulation is also the law of balance. Just as the body cannot thrive when blood pools in one place, so society cannot thrive when wealth is hoarded without movement. Money was made to pass from hand to hand, each time serving, each time blessing, each time creating new channels of good. When one hoards out of fear, the flow chokes and stagnation sets in. But when one trusts the law of circulation, the flow remains lively, vigorous, and expanding. To live in circulation is to live in the rhythm of life itself, where increase is natural and lack is impossible. The joy of circulation is that it multiplies not only the money itself, but also the good it carries. A dollar spent in bitterness carries bitterness. A dollar spent in joy carries joy. That joy returns in multiplied form, not only in money, but in experiences, in opportunities, in unexpected gifts. Circulation amplifies the vibration with which it is set in motion. Thus, to circulate with gratitude and gladness is to create a spiral of ever-increasing blessings. The consciousness of circulation also dissolves fear of loss. When you know that money returns multiplied, you no longer cling to each coin. You can release it easily, joyfully, confidently, because you trust the law. This freedom is wealth itself. For true wealth is not the amount in hand, but the certainty that more will always come. When you live in circulation, money is like the tide, always moving, always returning, always abundant. The fear of lack disappears, and with it disappears the need to hoard. To practice circulation, begin with what you have. Bless it, release it, let it move. Pay bills with gratitude, saying, "This money blesses and multiplies." Give gifts with joy, saying, "This money sows a harvest." Invest in yourself or others with confidence, saying, "This money grows as it circulates." Watch as the flow quickens, as opportunities appear, as money returns from unexpected directions. The universe loves movement, and money is eager to move when blessed and commanded rightly. Circulation also calls for receptivity. Just as the exhale requires an inhale, so giving requires receiving. Some resist receiving, believing it selfish, yet this too blocks the flow. To refuse a gift, to shrink from increase, is to close the channel. Circulation is a circle. What goes out must return, and what returns must be received. To give freely and receive freely is to honor the full law. To give without receiving is to deny the return. To receive without giving is to deny the flow. Only in balance is circulation complete. When circulation is understood, money ceases to be a burden and becomes a joy. Each act of giving is an affirmation of abundance. Each act of receiving is an affirmation of grace. The movement itself becomes proof of infinite supply. The stagnant pond of fear transforms into a flowing river of confidence. Money becomes light, quick, abundant, ever-moving, never-ending. Circulation multiplies wealth because it aligns with the eternal law of expansion, and expansion is the nature of spirit. Infinite supply answers faith, not fear. At the heart of all wealth lies the recognition that there is no limit in spirit. The storehouse of the universe is vast, overflowing, inexhaustible. Every tree bears countless seeds, every ocean contains countless drops, every star radiates endless light. Yet many live as though there were not enough, clinging to scraps, fearing tomorrow, hoarding in anxiety. This fear is a veil that blinds them to the truth. For infinite supply is always present, always available, but it can only flow through the open channel of faith. Fear closes the gate, faith opens it wide. Fear says, "What if it runs out?" Faith says, "It can never run out." Fear says, "I must struggle for my portion." Faith says, "My portion is assured, for I am one with the source." A faith is the magnet that draws from the invisible into the visible. When you hold faith, you hold the key that unlocks the treasure house. Faith is not wishful thinking or fragile hope, but firm knowing that the invisible is more real than appearances. The eye may see lack, the hand may feel emptiness, but faith looks deeper and sees abundance waiting to take form. Fear, on the other hand, magnifies appearances. It feeds on lack, it multiplies shadows. It convinces the mind that absence is real and presence is uncertain. The one who allows fear to govern closes their own channel. Infinite supply never ceases, but fear bars the door to its expression. Consider how often fear disguises itself as caution or wisdom. I must not spend, for what if more does not come? I must not invest, for what if it is lost? I must not give, for what if I am left without? Yet these words are not wisdom but bondage. They are chains forged by fear, and chains cannot attract freedom. Faith, in contrast, steps forward in confidence, knowing that each act of circulation calls forth more. Faith sows seed freely, knowing the harvest is sure. Faith gives generously, knowing return is multiplied. Faith acts as though the supply were already visible, and by that action, it becomes visible. Infinite supply is like a river pressing against the banks of human belief. If the banks are narrow, the river seems small. If the banks are wide, the river rushes in torrents. Faith widens the banks, fear constricts them. The river itself is never diminished, but your experience of it depends upon the space you allow. To live in faith is to widen, to expand, to expect. To live in fear is to contract, to shrink, to block. The difference is not in the source but in the vessel. Faith is exercised most clearly in the words you speak and the thoughts you hold. When you say, I always have enough, you stand in faith. When you say, I cannot afford it, you stand in fear. Infinite supply hears both, not as judgment but as command. It obeys your belief. If your belief is in lack, lack is provided. If your belief is in abundance, abundance is provided. The law is impartial, responding only to the vibration set in motion. Fear vibrates constriction, faith vibrates expansion. The choice lies ever in the one who speaks. Infinite supply does not answer the desperate cry of fear, because fear declares separation. Fear says, I am alone, I am unsupported, I must struggle. Faith declares unity. I am one with the source, I am heir to abundance. I rest in supply. The cry of fear is like a clenched fist that cannot receive. The song of faith is like an open hand, ready to be filled. The universe cannot place gold in a fist, but it can fill a hand stretched forth in trust. Those who live by fear often measure supply by what they see. They say, there is little in my account, so there must be little for me. But what is seen is only the outpicturing of past thought. To look at lack and conclude more lack is to cement the cycle. Faith looks beyond appearances. Faith says, though my account seems small, infinite supply is vast, and it is already pouring into my life. By holding this truth, by speaking it, by acting from it, the outer must eventually reflect it. The inner command always shapes the outer form. Fear is noisy, urgent, filled with questions. Faith is quiet, steady, filled with certainty. Fear rushes, grasps, panics. Faith rests, trusts, knows. In the silence of faith, the answer appears. In the clamor of fear, the answer is missed. Infinite supply is always whispering, always guiding, but only faith can hear. Fear is too loud to notice. When one begins to live in faith, money ceases to be a burden and becomes a joy. Each dollar that arrives is greeted not with worry of its leaving, but with gratitude for its coming. Each dollar released is not mourned as loss but blessed as seed. Faith transforms the very atmosphere around money. It removes the heaviness of struggle and replaces it with the lightness of flow. Infinite supply answers to this lightness, for it is the natural state of abundance. Fear, being heavy and dense, blocks the flow, while faith, being open and expansive, invites it. Infinite supply is not earned by toil, nor withheld by mistake, nor delayed by circumstance. It is present always, awaiting recognition. Faith is the recognition. Faith says, it is here now, though unseen, it is mine now, though not yet in hand. It is sure now, though the form has not arrived. And because infinite supply is responsive, the unseen becomes seen, the formless takes form, the invisible becomes visible. Fear cannot accomplish this, for fear is denial of supply. Faith alone opens the way. To cultivate faith, one must practice it daily. Each thought of lack must be answered with truth. Each fear-filled word must be replaced with a word of abundance. Each anxious act must be turned into a faithful one. Faith grows stronger with use, just as muscle grows stronger with exercise. Begin where you are, with what you have, and declare it enough. Bless it, command it, trust it to multiply. Each time you choose faith over fear, you widen the channel, and more of infinite supply flows through. Over time, faith becomes second nature, and fear loses its grip. Money is not a thing to be chased, nor a treasure to be hoarded. It is a divine idea, an eternal current that flows without beginning or end. The supply of money is as boundless as the air we breathe, as ceaseless as the tide that rushes to the shore. When one stands in alignment with the infinite, money reveals itself not as pieces of paper, but as a symbol of God's inexhaustible abundance. To ask, "How can I have unlimited money?" is to ask, "How can I tune my life to the frequency of the infinite?" For in truth, there is no limitation except that which the mind has built. Every thought of lack is a wall that shuts out the radiant supply, and every thought of abundance is a key that swings the gates wide open. Money comes not through struggle, worry, or striving, but through recognition. The soul must know that it is already heir to all riches, already standing in the kingdom where there is no scarcity. To declare, "I am one with infinite supply," is to call forth rivers of prosperity from unseen sources. The world of form rearranges itself when the inner word is spoken with faith. Unlimited money cannot be gained by fear or greed, for these are shadows that dissolve in the light. Unlimited money appears when one sees money not as master, but as servant. It is obedient to the law of consciousness. Whatever the mind accepts deeply, life reflects unfailingly. If the mind accepts limitation, poverty appears. If the mind accepts plenty, money flows in streams from expected and unexpected avenues. The question is not, "Where will it come from?" The question is, "Do I believe?" For when belief is anchored in divine order, the channels open effortlessly. Money may come as opportunities, as gifts, as new ideas, as sudden favor, as doors swinging open where there were once only walls. The source is invisible, but the supply is visible. The origin is infinite, but the manifestation is exact. To live in the consciousness of unlimited money is to release resentment, envy, and doubt. One must bless the wealth of others, knowing it is proof of the same law at work. What is done for one is done for all. When you see another prosper, it is the universe saying, "Look, this too is possible for you." Every word spoken is a seed, and every belief held is a blueprint. Speak lack, and you bind yourself. Speak abundance, and you free yourself. Say with conviction, "There is no limit to my supply. Money comes to me in perfect ways. I give freely and fearlessly, and in return I receive without measure." In that affirmation lies the secret. Money is not made. It is magnetized. It is not earned. It is expressed. The great truth is this: unlimited money is already yours. It waits at the threshold of your faith, eager to enter when you swing the door wide with fearless expectation. Money is a divine idea, not a material struggle. To the ordinary mind, money appears as coins, notes, figures in a ledger, or numbers glowing on a screen. Yet these are but shadows, outer garments worn by an eternal principle. The true essence of money is invisible, a current of divine supply that cannot be measured by human arithmetic. When one sees only the form, one is caught in the illusion of struggle, of grasping and holding, of fearing loss. But when the veil is lifted, it is revealed that money is an idea in the universal mind, inexhaustible, ever present, and waiting only for recognition. The struggle dissolves the moment this truth is understood, for struggle belongs to the world of separation, while divine ideas flow effortlessly from source to expression. When you view money as material, you enter a battlefield. The thought of competition rises, fear of scarcity takes root, envy grows, and greed attempts to hoard what it believes is limited. This is the great deception of the material view. It makes money appear as though it can only be gained through toil, worry, or even dishonesty. Yet the divine idea knows nothing of scarcity. It is infinite, just as light is infinite, just as air surrounds all, just as the ocean cannot be emptied by the filling of a single cup. The divine nature of money makes it beyond loss or depletion. There is no struggle in light shining, nor in rivers flowing, nor in trees bearing fruit. So it is with money when seen as divine supply. It flows because flow is its nature. To live in alignment with this idea, one must shift the thought from, I must earn, I must grasp, I must protect, to, I allow, I trust, I receive. Money as a divine idea answers faith, not effort. That does not mean one does nothing, but rather that action springs from inspiration instead of fear. The inspired act carries the stamp of success, for it is moved by the law of abundance. Fearful action, on the other hand, closes channels and tightens the grip around supply, as though money could be possessed rather than expressed. Divine ideas are never possessed, they are lived. When you speak of money as divine, you step into the field of grace. Grace is the effortless operation of divine law. The farmer does not make the seed grow by anxious watching, nor does the gardener force the rose to bloom by pulling at its petals. Growth is inherent, bloom is certain. Supply is inevitable when conditions are aligned, so too with money. When the soil of thought is cleared of weeds of fear and watered with the words of truth, the harvest must appear. Struggle is the refusal to trust the invisible, while recognition of the divine idea is the surrender that invites the inevitable. This recognition transforms the way one interacts with money. Instead of clinging, one gives. Instead of fearing loss, one blesses what is spent. Instead of doubting the flow, one declares its continuity. For if money is divine, then it cannot run dry. The fountain may shift its channel, but the spring does not cease to pour forth. To believe money is material is to place faith in the cup, which may be broken, emptied, or lost. To believe money is divine is to place faith in the fountain, which forever renews and fills whatever vessel is at hand. Every thought held about money reveals whether you see it as material struggle or divine idea. A thought of limitation says, I must hold tight, for there is not enough. A thought of abundance says, I give freely, for the source is endless. A thought of fear says, what if it leaves me? A thought of truth says, it flows unceasingly, for it is infinite. The one who believes money is divine never begs, never worries, never envies, for they know that what belongs to them by divine right cannot be withheld. The one who sees money as material lives in anxiety, chasing shadows, fearing tomorrow, and grasping at passing forms. It is said that ideas rule the world, and indeed they do. The idea you hold about money determines the reality you live with it. If the idea is struggle, then struggle appears. If the idea is flow, then flow appears. The universe mirrors consciousness unfailingly. To declare money as divine is to open the door to channels unseen, to attract opportunities, gifts, and resources without strain. Money comes in perfect ways when seen as divine, because divine ideas always fulfill themselves with precision. The invisible law arranges people, circumstances, and events to bring forth supply, as surely as the earth brings forth a harvest in season. When you see money as divine, gratitude takes the place of worry. Gratitude is the recognition that supply already exists, that the universe has already answered, that the need is already met. This recognition calls forth more, for the law is clear: what you praise, you raise. To complain of lack is to multiply lack. To give thanks for abundance is to multiply abundance. Gratitude sees beyond appearances and anchors itself in the truth that money is not material. It is spiritual. It is not something to fight for, but something to align with. It is not earned by sweat alone, but attracted by consciousness. In this understanding, the act of giving and receiving becomes sacred. Giving is not loss but multiplication. Every gift sent forth in faith returns increased, because it is rooted in the recognition that money is a divine idea and therefore circulates endlessly. The miser who clings sees only material money and fears its departure. The one who gives freely sees divine money and trusts its return. Just as the ocean never loses by sending a wave to the shore, so the giver never loses by sending money forth. It is a wave that must return, often larger than before, for such is the rhythm of divine law. The moment you cease to struggle, the moment you cease to chase, the moment you let go of the belief that money is limited, you step into freedom. Freedom is the natural state of divine ideas. Freedom is the knowing that no circumstance, no person, no system can block what is yours by right of consciousness. Money does not come from a boss, a business, or a bank account. These are channels, but not the source. The source is infinite, unseen, unfailing. To confuse channel with source is to live in bondage. To know the source is to live in peace. Lack is only a belief, abundance is a recognition. To the eye that sees through appearances, lack seems real. It appears in empty purses, in unpaid bills, in the gnawing thought of not enough. Yet this vision is not truth, but a shadow cast by belief. Lack has no substance of its own. It is a condition of the mind reflected in the outer world. The moment one believes in limitation, the outer life obeys and presents limitation in form. The moment one recognizes abundance, the outer life shifts and reveals abundance in form. The world of matter is a mirror, and the mirror reflects the image held within. Every experience of lack begins as a thought. A child is not born believing in poverty. A child trusts that food will appear, that warmth will be provided, that life will unfold. Beliefs of lack are learned through fear, through repetition of the words of those who themselves lived in limitation. These beliefs become laws within the subconscious, and the outer world acts them out faithfully. Yet no belief is permanent, and no belief is truth unless we continue to give it power. Lack is a mask worn by the mind. When the mask is removed, abundance stands revealed. Abundance is not something created, for it already exists. Everywhere in nature, the principle of plenty is displayed. The earth produces more seeds than can be planted. The ocean holds more drops than can be counted. The stars spread farther than vision can reach. Scarcity does not exist in divine design. It is a construct of human fear. Recognition of abundance is not wishful thinking but awakening to reality. It is the realization that supply is infinite, that channels are many, and that what is required is always already present in some form. To believe in lack is to close the eyes to what is near. It is to declare, there is nothing, even while standing in a field full of opportunity. To recognize abundance is to open the eyes and say, all that I need is here, though it may yet be unseen. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Recognition is the act of faith that transforms shadow into substance. Words carry power, for they are the carriers of belief. When one speaks lack, one calls lack into form. When one declares abundance, one summons abundance. To say, I cannot afford, is to tie the hands of supply. To say, everything I need is provided, is to swing wide the door to provision. The law of life is unfailing. What is recognized inwardly appears outwardly. Lack is not fought with struggle, it is dissolved by recognition. Consider how two people may face the same situation. One sees limitation, speaks of hardship, worries about tomorrow, and remains bound by lack. Another sees possibility, speaks words of faith, trusts in unseen supply, and finds ways open that others did not see. The difference lies not in the circumstance but in the belief. The same soil can grow weeds or flowers, depending on what seed is planted. The mind is the soil, belief is the seed. Lack is the harvest of fear, abundance is the harvest of trust. The practice of recognition begins with thought. To recognize abundance is to deliberately turn away from appearances of limitation and affirm the truth of plenty. When bills arrive, one can either sigh with dread or declare, these are opportunities for supply to appear. When money seems scarce, one can either shrink in fear or affirm, the universe is rich and provides in perfect ways. Recognition does not deny appearances, it reinterprets them, it insists on truth beyond shadow. Belief in lack often hides beneath habits of worry, envy, and doubt. Worry is the rehearsal of limitation. Envy is the declaration that supply is limited and that another's gain is your loss. Doubt is the refusal to trust the source of abundance. Each of these can be released when one understands that abundance is not stolen, not scarce, not fragile. The supply of life is infinite, and each person has their own channel through which it flows. Recognition of abundance in another's life strengthens your own, for it affirms the law at work universally. Abundance is recognized not only in money, but in every area of life. The smile of a stranger, the beauty of a flower, the warmth of the sun, the friendship that appears in time of need. All are signs of the abundant nature of the universe. When one trains the eye to see abundance in small things, it becomes natural to expect it in larger things. The habit of recognition creates the atmosphere in which supply flows easily. Lack cannot survive in the presence of consistent recognition, for the mind that sees abundance refuses to accept poverty as real. There is a deep peace in realizing that lack is only a belief. It means that no matter what the outer condition may be, it has no true power. Conditions shift when beliefs shift. If lack were reality, no change would be possible. Because it is belief, transformation is always possible. A new recognition can alter a lifetime of limitation. The moment one truly sees abundance as reality, life begins to reorganize itself to reflect that truth. Opportunities appear, doors open, ideas flow. Help arrives, resources gather, and what once seemed impossible becomes natural. This is why it is said that prosperity begins in consciousness. Outer wealth without inner recognition is fragile, for the belief in lack will eventually dissolve it. But inner recognition of abundance creates wealth that endures, for it is rooted in the eternal. To live in recognition is to walk in freedom, to give without fear, to receive without guilt, to trust without doubt. It is to know that the source is infinite and the supply is unending. Money flows when aligned with faith, not fear. Faith is the substance that gives form to invisible supply, the unseen conviction that the universe is abundant and responsive. Fear, on the other hand, is the denial of this truth, the anxious insistence that provision may fail, that scarcity might be stronger than abundance. When one aligns with faith, money appears in perfect ways, drawn as surely as a magnet draws iron. When one aligns with fear, money slips away, blocked by the very thought that seeks to cling to it. The invisible law is exact: what you trust, you attract; what you dread, you invite; what you believe, you live. Faith is not hope, nor is it mere wishing. Faith is certainty in the unseen, confidence in the unseen source. Assurance that supply is already prepared though it has not yet been revealed. It is the knowing that every need carries its own provision, that no desire of the heart is planted without the means for its fulfillment. To walk in faith is to stand as if abundance were already visible, to speak words of gratitude before the gift has arrived, to act with confidence in the invisible order. Fear waits for proof before it trusts, but faith provides the proof by trusting. Money flows to the consciousness that expects it. Expectation is the language of faith. To expect lack is to prepare for it, to build doors for its entrance, to call it into being. To expect abundance is to prepare the way for it, to make room for its arrival, to invite it joyfully. The one who lives in faith spends with peace, gives with gladness, saves without fear, and speaks with assurance. The one who lives in fear hoards, hesitates, doubts, and complains, and by so doing shuts off the current of flow. Fear contracts, faith expands. Fear freezes, faith releases. Fear binds the stream, faith opens the floodgates. Money is not a master, it is a servant. It is not a tyrant to be appeased, but a current to be guided. Faith directs the current, for it acknowledges the source as divine and infinite. Fear misuses the current, for it forgets the source and sees only limitation. When money is seen through fear, it becomes heavy, elusive, and scarce. When money is seen through faith, it becomes light, responsive, and abundant. It is the same energy, yet the channel it takes is determined by belief. Faith declares, I am supplied in perfect ways, now and always. Fear whispers, what if it never comes? Faith affirms, every bill is already paid, every need already met. Fear insists, I will not have enough. Faith says, opportunities are unfolding for me, seen and unseen. Fear warns, the door is closed, and no more can appear. Each voice has its own power, for the universe mirrors the consciousness behind the words. To align with faith is to choose the voice of truth. To align with fear is to repeat the lie of lack. The flow of money is like the flow of water in a river. Faith clears the channel so the stream runs smooth, widening its banks and quickening its current. Fear clutters the river with stones of doubt. branches of worry, and dams of resistance. The water itself does not stop existing, but its passage is hindered. Remove the blocks of fear, and the flow is immediate. The supply was always there, waiting only for release. Faith does not argue with appearances. Appearances may suggest lack, but faith sees beyond. The cupboard may look empty, but faith declares, I live in an abundant universe. The account may seem small, but faith affirms, supply is on its way through perfect channels. Appearances are temporary, truth is eternal. Fear binds itself to appearances and calls them final. Faith holds to truth and watches appearances dissolve into new form. To live by faith with money is to treat every transaction as sacred. When money is given, it is sent forth with blessing, with the declaration that it will return multiplied. When money is received, it is welcomed with gratitude, no matter the amount, for gratitude anchors abundance. When money is spent, faith insists that circulation is the sign of endless flow, not depletion. Fear clings to each coin, resents each payment, and curses each expense, and in doing so it multiplies the very sense of lack it dreads. Faith releases money with joy, knowing it is but a wave of the ocean returning to the sea, sure to come back again in greater strength. Faith opens the way for unexpected channels. Fear imagines only a few sources of supply and panics when they appear closed. Faith knows that the universe is limitless in its avenues, that money can arrive in ways unimagined, that divine order arranges opportunities beyond the reach of human calculation. Fear waits for wages alone. Faith is open to gifts, ideas, opportunities, and surprises. Fear clings to one door, faith trusts the infinite corridor of doors. This alignment with faith is not passive, it calls for action, but action inspired by trust rather than panic. Fear-driven action is hasty, exhausting, and fruitless. Faith-driven action is calm, steady, and effective. The mind aligned with faith receives guidance, a sudden thought, a clear idea, an inner prompting. To act on these with confidence is to walk the path of prosperity. To ignore them in doubt is to turn away from the answer. Faith listens, fear argues. Faith responds, fear hesitates. Faith produces results, fear produces frustration. There is no true prosperity without faith, for material gain without inner certainty is fragile and fleeting. One may gather wealth through fear, yet it breeds anxiety, hoarding, and constant struggle. Faith brings not only money but peace with money, freedom in its use, and joy in its circulation. Fear says, hold on tightly lest it vanish. Faith says, release freely, for more is always coming. Fear lives in suspicion and loss. Faith lives in confidence and increase. Every moment offers the choice between faith and fear. A thought arises. What if there is not enough? This is fear. Replace it with, all my needs are met abundantly. That is faith. A bill arrives, and fear whispers, how will you ever pay this? Faith replies, this is already provided for by divine supply. The practice of catching fear and replacing it with faith is the discipline that aligns consciousness with flow. Each time faith is chosen, the channel widens. Each time fear is indulged, the channel narrows. Blessing others' prosperity multiplies your own. When you look upon the wealth, success, or abundance of another and send forth words of blessing, you align yourself with the law of increase. What you bless, you draw nearer to yourself, for blessing is a recognition of good, and recognition is the magnet of manifestation. To envy another's fortune is to affirm that supply is limited, that another's gain is your loss. Yet the truth is the opposite. The prosperity of one is proof of prosperity for all. The same law that works for another can work for you. The same fountain that fills their cup overflows into yours. There is no competition in divine supply. The sun does not run short because it shines on many. The ocean does not dry because countless rivers pour into it. The earth does not cease to bloom because gardens blossom everywhere. Prosperity is infinite, unmeasured, and without boundary. To believe otherwise is to believe in lack, and lack is only a shadow of thought. The moment you bless abundance wherever you see it, you affirm that the law of abundance is alive, active, and unlimited. In that recognition, you invite the same flow into your own life. Every thought of jealousy, criticism, or resentment toward another's success binds the flow of your own prosperity. When you say, "Why should they have so much?" you declare that you live in a universe of scarcity. When you think, "They do not deserve it," you shut yourself off from the very good you desire. Resentment poisons the channel of supply, but blessing clears it. To bless is to acknowledge the good without resistance, to say with sincerity, "I rejoice in your prosperity, for it proves that prosperity is possible, and I too partake in the same law." Such words, spoken with faith, lift the consciousness into alignment with increase. The act of blessing shifts the heart from fear to love, from contraction to expansion. Love multiplies, fear diminishes. When you bless, you expand the borders of your own acceptance. You tell the universe, "I am ready to receive what I see in others. I am open to the same abundance. I am willing to share in the limitless wealth of life." The universe responds to openness, not resistance. A heart filled with envy is closed, but a heart filled with blessing is open wide to receive. Consider how often people curse the wealth of others without realizing it. They say, "The rich are greedy," or "It is unfair that they have so much," or "Money only comes to those who take advantage." These are curses, words that affirm lack and injustice, words that shut out prosperity. To speak such words is to align with poverty consciousness, but to bless is to speak the language of abundance. When you say, "I bless their success, for it shows me what is possible," you affirm that wealth is not limited to them but is a universal flow. What you bless in others, you allow in yourself. Blessing is not mere politeness, it is a spiritual act. It sends forth creative energy, shaping your consciousness into harmony with the law of increase. When you bless another's home, you prepare the way for your own. When you bless another's business, you prepare the way for your own. When you bless another's wealth, you prepare the way for your own. Each blessing is a seed sown, and every seed bears fruit. To curse is to sow weeds that choke prosperity. To bless is to sow flowers that bloom in due season. This principle extends beyond money into every area of life. If you long for love, bless the relationships you see around you. If you desire health, bless the vitality you see in others. If you seek opportunity, bless the success you witness in the world. Each blessing lifts you into harmony with the condition you bless. You cannot bless what you secretly despise, nor can you attract what you secretly envy. But the moment you genuinely rejoice in the good of another, you unlock the same door for yourself. Blessing others' prosperity requires sincerity. It is not enough to say the words while harboring bitterness inside. The blessing must be genuine, springing from the recognition that there is enough for all, that the universe is generous beyond measure, that wealth and success are not slices of a limited pie but streams from an endless source. To cultivate this sincerity, one must release the lie of scarcity. Each time the thought of envy arises, replace it with the truth. Their abundance is proof of abundance for me as well. Each time resentment whispers, silence it with blessing. I rejoice in their success, for it foretells my own. A gratitude and blessing walk hand in hand. Gratitude affirms the abundance already present in your life. Blessing affirms the abundance you witness in others. Together they form the atmosphere in which prosperity multiplies. A grateful heart cannot envy, for it sees its own wealth. A blessing heart cannot resent, for it sees wealth as universal. Gratitude says, "Thank you for what I have." Blessing says, "I rejoice in what I see." Both together declare, "I live in an abundant universe where supply is without end." Blessing others' prosperity also dissolves the illusion of separation. When you see another's success as your loss, you divide yourself from the universal flow. But when you bless their prosperity, you affirm unity with the law that supplies both you and them. You recognize that you are not apart from abundance, but part of it. Their gain does not reduce you, it proves the law at work. Their wealth does not take from you, it affirms that the source is endless. To bless is to join the rhythm of circulation, where giving and receiving are constant and unlimited. There is a law of reflection at work here. What you send out returns to you multiplied. If you send out curses, resentment, or criticism toward wealth, the reflection is poverty. If you send out blessings, joy, and gratitude toward wealth, the reflection is prosperity. The mirror of life does not discriminate, it only reflects. Your blessings for others return as blessings for you. Your curses for others return as obstacles for you. The choice is yours, and the result is exact. To practice this principle daily is to transform your relationship with money. Each time you encounter wealth, whether in a person, a home, a store, or a possession, silently bless it. Say, I bless this prosperity, and I open myself to the same. Each time you see someone enjoy success, affirm, I rejoice in their abundance, for it proves the law of increase is active for all. Each time envy or resentment arises, turn it into blessing, and watch how swiftly the energy shifts. Over time, this practice rewires the mind to expect prosperity instead of lack, to rejoice instead of resent, to bless instead of curse. Unlimited money is magnetized, not earned. The world has long taught that money is gained only through endless labor, sweat, and struggle, but in truth money is drawn by consciousness, not by effort alone. To believe that money is earned by toil is to bind oneself to limitation. To believe that supply is measured by hours worked or strength expended. Yet money is not a reward for strain but a reflection of thought. It flows to the one who knows it flows. It appears for the one who expects it. It multiplies for the one who welcomes it. To magnetize money is to live in harmony with the law of attraction, which declares that like draws unto like. That belief shapes form, that the invisible governs the visible. A magnet does not chase iron, it draws it. So too, money does not need to be chased when consciousness is aligned with abundance. The person who runs after money with fear, anxiety, or desperation finds it slipping further away, for fear repels what faith attracts. The person who stands in calm assurance, who declares with conviction that supply is infinite and always arriving, becomes a magnet to money. This is not laziness, nor is it passivity, but alignment. It is the knowing that money responds to vibration, not to worry. Effort without alignment is struggle. Alignment without effort is stillness. Alignment joined with inspired action is magnetism. To magnetize money, one must release the belief in limitation. The belief that there is not enough creates a field of resistance, for the magnet of lack cannot draw abundance. The belief that I must struggle to earn creates a life of endless struggle, for life mirrors the inner law one accepts. The belief that money is hard to come by makes money hard to come by. Yet the belief that money comes to me easily and in perfect ways creates ease. The belief that money is always circulating in my life creates circulation. The magnetism is in the thought, the conviction, the word spoken with faith. Unlimited money is not bound to one channel, one job, or one person. It is everywhere, waiting to flow through the open mind and the willing heart. The magnetized consciousness does not cling to a single source, for it knows that the source is infinite. If one channel closes, another opens, often greater than the first. The river does not dry when one branch is blocked, for the current finds another way. To believe that supply can only come from one place is to weaken the magnet. To trust that supply is limitless and flows in countless ways is to strengthen the magnet. The power of magnetism lies in imagination. The mind must see what it desires as already present, must feel the joy of possession before it appears, must give thanks for it as if it were already in hand. This inner seeing creates the vibration that attracts. Money is not magnetized by doubt but by certainty, not by longing but by knowing, not by begging but by claiming. The one who says, I hope it will come, weakens the field, but the one who says, it is mine by right of divine supply, strengthens it. Imagination backed by faith is the magnet that shapes reality. Words too are magnets. Every word spoken sends forth energy, either attracting or repelling supply. To say I am always broke is to magnetize lack. To say I never have enough is to attract insufficiency. To say money comes to me easily and abundantly is to call forth abundance. To say everything I spend returns multiplied is to open the floodgates of increase. Words are not idle sounds but forces. spoken with belief. They charge the atmosphere with magnetism, drawing money to their likeness. Gratitude is one of the strongest magnets of all. When you are grateful for the money you have, no matter how small, you send forth a vibration of increase. Gratitude says to the universe, I recognize abundance, I affirm abundance, I am ready for more. Complaint, on the other hand, weakens the magnet. To complain of lack is to affirm lack, to see only emptiness is to attract more emptiness. Gratitude multiplies what it touches. The magnetized life is a grateful life, seeing every coin as a seed, every payment as circulation, every receipt as proof of the law of supply. Generosity too strengthens the magnet. The one who clutches money in fear weakens their magnetic power, for fear is contraction. The one who gives freely expands their magnetism, for generosity is faith in circulation. To release money with joy is to declare, I live in an abundant universe, and this money returns to me multiplied. The generous hand is a magnet, always filled again. The closed fist holds little and receives less, but the open hand gives and receives without measure. Giving is not loss but multiplication, for every gift sent forth carries the magnetism of increase. The magnetism of unlimited money also requires harmony within. Anger, resentment, and envy are forces of resistance, scattering energy and repelling supply. Peace, joy, and love are forces of attraction, aligning the heart with abundance. To carry bitterness against wealth is to push wealth away. To bless wealth wherever it is found is to draw it near. To curse money as evil is to sever its flow, to honor money as divine circulation is to welcome its presence. Magnetism arises from harmony, and harmony arises from truth that supply is infinite, that abundance is natural, that prosperity is divine. When money is magnetized, it often comes in unexpected ways. Faith opens the door to surprises, gifts, opportunities, and sudden channels of provision. The magnetized mind does not ask, from where, but trusts that the where will appear. The method is the universe's concern. The belief is the individual's. The magnet does not choose which piece of iron it will draw, it simply draws. The consciousness of abundance does not dictate how money must appear, it simply expects that it will. The more one releases the need to control the channel, the stronger the magnet becomes. Magnetism is not about force but attraction. It is not about demanding but aligning. It is not about chasing but allowing. The person who chases money out of fear sends forth the vibration of desperation, and money slips away. The person who stands calm in faith, declaring abundance and giving thanks for supply, draws money naturally, without strain. The magnet does not sweat to attract, it attracts by nature. The magnetized mind attracts by consciousness. This is why unlimited money cannot be earned by labor alone, but is drawn by thought, by belief, by the inner law of attraction. Life is a game, and each soul is playing its part upon the grand stage of the universe. There is but one truth that few dare to speak, and fewer still wish to hear. No one is your friend. Not in the way the world teaches. The world teaches dependency, flattery, and false loyalty, while the law of the universe whispers of self, reliance, divine wisdom, and alignment with infinite spirit. When we seek validation from others, when we believe another holds the key to our joy, our purpose, or our salvation, we surrender our power. We place our faith in shifting sands. For people change. Their moods sway with the winds of circumstance. Their love is often tainted by need, their kindness bound by condition. The friendship you think you have made disappear when storms come, and then what remains? Only you, and the law. There is a divine intelligence that works through you. It is your truest friend, your eternal companion. People may walk beside you for a time, but they cannot walk as you. They cannot think your thoughts, or speak your words, or dream your dreams. When you mistake companionship for your compass, you wander from your true path. When you wait for support, you delay your destiny. The wise soul learns to stand alone, not in bitterness, but in clarity, not in pride, but in power. For when you no longer need a friend to feel whole, the world transforms. You begin to attract those who mirror your light, not your lack. You draw to yourself allies, not anchors, supporters, not saviors. You see, The law is precise, the outside mirrors the inside, and until you are enough for yourself, no one will ever be enough for you. Declare it. I am whole. I am guided. I am free. Let this be your foundation. Speak your word and stand firm. You do not need to chase friendship. You do not need to fear solitude. What seems like loneliness is often the sacred space where your soul learns to hear its own voice. Stronger than fear, louder than the noise of others' opinions. That voice is the voice of the infinite. That voice is your true friend. Let go of the illusion. Stop waiting to be chosen, invited, or accepted. You are chosen already, by life itself. Stand in your authority. Trust the divine order, and you will find that what you once sought in others, you have always carried within. Rely on the divine, not on people. This principle stands as a foundational truth for those walking the path of spiritual mastery. In a world where relationships are often idolized and dependence on others is normalized, the soul that chooses to align with divine intelligence finds true stability. The external world is ever shifting. People come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Promises are made and broken. But the divine, the unseen yet ever-present source of all life, remains constant, immutable, and infinitely wise. When you rely on people, you lean on a crutch made of clay. It may hold you for a moment, but under the pressure of life's weight, it will crack. Friends, lovers, family, colleagues, they are all playing their roles in their own dramas. Their words are filtered through their experiences, their wounds, and their beliefs. Their support may be genuine, but it is limited. No human can give you what the divine has already placed within you. Every time you seek your guidance, worth, or peace from another, you are turning away from the source of your power. The law of the universe is clear: you attract what you radiate. When you operate from wholeness, you draw in those who match your frequency. But if you seek to fill a void within by attaching to others, you will only experience cycles of disappointment. The void cannot be filled externally. It is not a vacancy, but a call to turn inward. The divine presence that animates your being is your eternal source of wisdom, clarity, and strength. It does not abandon, it does not waver, and it does not mislead. To rely on the divine is not to reject people, but to see them rightly, as fellow travelers, not as saviors. When your faith is rooted in spirit, you no longer fear abandonment. You no longer bend to win favor or compromise your truth for connection. You become unshakable, not because you have built walls, but because your foundation lies in something greater than flesh and blood. You walk with certainty not because you know the path, but because you trust the guide. Every problem you face, every conflict or heartache, is an opportunity to shift your reliance from the world to the word, the unspoken, eternal law that governs all things. When you look to others for answers, you receive confusion. But when you go within, into the silence where spirit speaks, you find precision and peace. The still small voice never shouts, yet its authority dissolves all fear. It may not always give you the answer you want, but it always gives you the answer you need. People are mirrors, not maps. They reflect aspects of your inner world, but they cannot chart your course. That is a divine responsibility, and it is given to you through your connection with spirit. The moment you begin to ask, "What does God want me to know here?" instead of, "What should I do according to others?" you step into alignment with the infinite. That alignment is what manifests true solutions, true protection, and true fulfillment. It is tempting to depend on others because it feels safer. It feels easier to trust someone we can see, hear, and touch. But appearances deceive. What seems secure today may vanish tomorrow. The job, the relationship, the praise, they are all subject to change. But the spiritual law is not. When you rely on the divine, you are not subject to the whims of circumstance. You become a channel through which order, abundance, and right action flow. There is a sacred difference between connection and dependence. The former empowers, the latter enslaves. Connection honors free will and divine timing. Dependence manipulates, clings, and fears. When you rely on the divine, you release the need to control others. You allow them to be who they are, and you trust that all things are unfolding as they should. You walk through life unattached to outcomes, yet completely certain that all your needs are met. This certainty does not come from ego, but from communion. It comes from daily practice, tuning in to the voice of the infinite through silence, meditation, prayer, or simply becoming aware of the present moment. Each time you choose stillness over panic, trust over doubt, you reinforce your reliance on the divine. You begin to see that every external event is secondary. The inner world is primary. It is the cause. All else is effect. People may inspire you, support you, even uplift you, but they are not your source. The source of your creativity, your resilience, your peace, your joy, it all originates in the divine. When you know this deeply and without question, you are free. Free from needing approval, free from fearing rejection, free from the exhausting effort to please, to prove, to perform. Even in your darkest hour, the divine does not leave you. Even when friends fall away, even when voices fall silent, the voice remains. The more you learn to hear it, the more you understand how deeply you are held. You stop looking outward for security and begin building it from within. You stop expecting others to rescue you and instead rise into the authority of your own spirit. The paradox is that once you no longer rely on others, you attract stronger, healthier connections. Because you no longer carry the energy of need, you become magnetic to those who also walk in power. Your relationships transform, not because others change, but because you have. You move from codependency to co-creation, from chasing love to embodying it, from seeking answers to becoming the answer. You are not alone, but you are meant to stand in your own light. The divine is not far off in some distant realm. It is within you, speaking through your intuition, guiding through your desires, correcting through your conscience. Every moment offers the chance to choose rely on people or rely on presence. The former will shake you. The latter will sustain you. And in that choice, again and again, your life is shaped. True power comes from self-sufficiency. This is not the self-sufficiency born of ego or rebellion, but the deep, unwavering knowing that all you require is already within you. The world teaches you to reach outward, toward people, institutions, praise, and approval. But spiritual law teaches that everything begins within. You were not created to be dependent. You were created in the image of infinite intelligence, complete, whole, and divinely equipped. The moment you realize this, you begin to walk not as one who needs, but as one who knows. Power does not come from control. It does not come from dominance, status, or having others obey your will. True power arises in silence. It moves through clarity, groundedness, and conviction. When you are self-sufficient, you are not swayed by opinions. You are not wounded by rejection. You are not shaken by temporary losses, because you understand that nothing real can be taken from you. What is truly yours by divine right will never pass you by. And so, the self-sufficient soul walks calmly, trusting the rhythm of the universe even when the path is hidden. To be self-sufficient is not to be alone, but to be full of inner resources, full of spiritual guidance, full of quiet knowing. The world may call this solitude, but spirit calls it alignment. Others may see you as independent, perhaps even aloof. But what you are is connected to the source that never runs dry. You do not beg the world for crumbs of attention or scrap for moments of validation. You sit at the banquet of your own spirit, feasting on wisdom, purpose, and peace. There is a strength that rises only in the absence of external support. When no one shows up to cheer you on, when no voice affirms your choices, when every hand that once held yours lets go, this is the moment you discover what you are truly made of. Not the personality, not the image, not the role you perform, but the essence beneath it all. That essence is divine. That essence cannot be broken, diminished, or controlled. It simply waits for you to remember it. Society teaches you to defer your power to experts, to relationships, to systems. But no one knows your path better than the intelligence that formed you. No one can live your life, carry your burdens, or manifest your dreams. Only you can do that. And once you stop waiting for permission, Once you stop apologizing for your own voice, you begin to embody the authority that was always yours, not the kind that demands, but the kind that simply is. Silent, present, immovable. Self-sufficiency does not mean isolation. It means integrity. It means that you no longer betray yourself to keep others comfortable. It means you do not silence your truth to avoid conflict or hide your light to be accepted. You are not here to fit in. You are here to fulfill a purpose that only you can express. And that purpose does not require approval. It only requires awareness. Every time you override your intuition to please someone else, you weaken your alignment. Every time you deny your own needs in fear of rejection, you delay your progress. True power is not about having influence over others. It is about being so rooted in your own center that nothing can pull you off course. This is the power of self-sufficiency, not coldness, but clarity. Not arrogance, but alignment. You do not wait to be rescued, because you are not lost. You do not seek to be chosen, because you have already chosen yourself. The most dangerous illusion is that you are incomplete, that you need someone else to finish your story. But you are not a half waiting for a whole. You are already whole, and those who come into your life are not there to complete you. They are there to witness your fullness, and if aligned, to walk alongside it. But whether they stay or go, your journey continues. Whether they understand or not, your truth remains. Because your power does not depend on them. It depends only on your willingness to stand in it. To live in self-sufficiency is to take radical responsibility. You no longer blame circumstances, or people, or fate. You recognize that while you cannot control every event, you can control your response. You can choose how to think, how to act, how to speak. You can choose to align with truth instead of fear. You can choose to be your own source of encouragement, rather than waiting for someone else to uplift you. This is not always easy, but it is always available. There is a peace that comes with knowing you are enough. Not in the sense of perfection, but in the sense of sufficiency. You may still grow, still heal, still evolve, but even in your process you are enough. Even in your learning, you are worthy. You are not a project to be fixed. You are a force to be remembered. The power you seek outside is already encoded within your spirit, and your task is not to earn it, but to release it. Others may not understand this. They may be uncomfortable with your clarity, your strength, your unwillingness to bend. But that is not your concern. Your concern is your own alignment, your own peace, your own path. When you are self-sufficient, you no longer trade your truth for temporary company. You are willing to be misunderstood in order to be authentic. You are willing to walk alone if it means walking in integrity, because the cost of betraying yourself is too high. Self-sufficiency is the soil in which self-respect grows, and from that soil blooms a life that is not built on dependency or compromise, but on design, divine design. You begin to speak more deliberately, love more consciously, and act more boldly. You no longer shrink, you no longer chase, you no longer wait. You rise, you create, you move. You let the world adjust to the frequency of your truth, rather than lowering your truth to fit the world. Everything in life will test your self-sufficiency. The losses, the rejections, the delays, all are invitations to return to your center. To see who you are without applause. To remember what you carry when nothing external seems to support you. In those moments, your strength is forged. Not the strength of performance, but of presence. Not the strength of noise, but of knowing. And that strength cannot be taken, only hidden, until you are ready to walk in it fully. Friendship based on need is unstable. It may appear comforting in moments of weakness, but it carries within it the seeds of collapse. The moment you enter into a relationship, any relationship, from a place of lack, you create imbalance. You are not sharing wholeness, you are asking someone to fill a space within you that only the divine can complete. This request is silent, often unconscious, but its effects are unmistakable. Over time, what began as connection becomes obligation, what began as affection becomes expectation, and what once felt supportive begins to feel suffocating. When two individuals come together, whether as friends, partners, or companions. The nature of the bond is determined not by words, but by energy. If one or both are rooted in fear, loneliness, or insecurity, then the friendship becomes a means of escape, not a platform for growth. You may not realize it at first. It may feel like love. It may feel like fate. But eventually, the truth will emerge, because all that is not grounded in spiritual law must dissolve. Need is not the same as love. Need clings. Need demands. Need controls. It says, "Stay with me so I can feel okay," or "Don't leave me or I'll fall apart." That is not love. That is fear wearing a mask. And when fear forms the foundation of a friendship, the entire structure is weak. The moment your friend fails to meet your emotional needs, the moment they change, drift, or evolve, you feel betrayed. But the betrayal is not theirs. It lies in the original illusion that they were responsible for your sense of completeness. Friendship built on mutual growth, mutual respect, and spiritual alignment is steady. It does not rise and fall with moods or circumstances. It flows, it breathes, it allows space. But a friendship rooted in need becomes brittle. Every word, every silence, every action or inaction is scrutinized. There is no freedom in it. There is only the constant pressure to maintain the illusion. I need you. You need me. Don't change. Don't grow. Stay who I need you to be. This kind of friendship quickly becomes a contract, not a connection. A contract of unspoken agreements, expectations, and emotional debts. I was there for you, so you must be there for me. I gave you my time, so you owe me your loyalty. But true spiritual friendship asks for nothing in return. It is not transactional. It is generous because it is full. You give because you overflow, not because you hope to be filled. People are not sources, they are vessels. The source is always divine. When you expect people to act as your emotional supply, you unknowingly burden them with a responsibility they were never meant to carry. And the more you depend on them to regulate your sense of self, the more they will pull away, either physically, emotionally, or spiritually. It is not betrayal. It is the soul's natural resistance to being used, even subtly. There is a certain desperation in need-based friendship. You may find yourself compromising your values to maintain connection. You may silence your truth, tolerate disrespect, or accept imbalance, all in fear of being alone. But no friendship that requires you to abandon yourself is worthy of your presence. You are not meant to earn belonging through sacrifice. You are meant to belong simply because you exist in alignment with your spirit. When friendship becomes a means to avoid discomfort, growth is stalled. You begin to rely on others to soothe you instead of seeking your own inner healing. You mistake distraction for intimacy. The friendship becomes a mirror of your unhealed parts, not a reflection of your highest self. Conversations become repetitive, support becomes rescue, and time together becomes dependency rather than expansion. The most powerful friendships are those where each individual stands firmly in their own identity, where no one is leaning, but both are rising. In such connections, time apart does not create fear, it strengthens trust. Silence is not a threat, it is a space for reflection. Honesty is not avoided, it is welcomed. Because both souls know they are whole, and their connection is a celebration, not a survival mechanism. It is easy to mistake attention for affection and presence for purpose. But not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, and not every friend is meant to be forever. When a friendship begins to feel heavy, restrictive, or fearful, it is often a sign that it was rooted in need. And the lesson is not to resent the other, but to turn inward and ask, what part of me still believes I need someone else to feel secure? Friendships are sacred, but they must be free. The spirit cannot thrive under emotional contracts. The moment you require someone to stay so that you can feel okay, you place them in a prison, and yourself in one as well. That is not love, that is a substitute, and spirit does not deal in substitutes, it deals only in truth. When you begin to build friendships from a place of fullness, when you no longer need them to complete you, you experience something radically different. You stop chasing, you stop explaining, you stop managing others' emotions. You show up as you are, and you allow them to do the same. If the alignment is true, the connection will flow. If it is not, it will dissolve with grace. Either way, you are at peace. Because your well-being is no longer tied to another's presence. Need-based friendships often come with cycles. Closeness followed by distance. Affection followed by guilt, connection followed by confusion. And each time you find yourself asking, "What did I do wrong?" But the answer is not in your actions. It is in your energy. What you believed you lacked, you tried to receive from another. And what you tried to receive from another, you were always meant to reclaim within. It is not cruel to release friendships that were built on need. It is compassionate for you and for them. Because both souls deserve the space to find wholeness apart before they can meet again. If ever, in truth. When you stop expecting someone to make you feel worthy, you finally discover that you always were. And when that discovery is made, the way you relate to others transforms completely. Friendship should not be a place where you hide from your wounds. It should be a space where your healing is supported, not substituted. A place where you are seen clearly, but never needed to be anything other than who you truly are. When that is the foundation, friendship becomes a sacred exchange. Not because of need, but because of freedom. Not because of fear, but because of love. Solitude reveals inner strength and clarity. It is in the absence of noise, distraction, and external validation that the true self begins to emerge. While the world often teaches that being alone is a sign of lack or failure, spiritual law reveals something far deeper. Solitude is not emptiness. It is sacred space. It is the place where the spirit speaks without interruption, where truth rises without disguise, and where the soul remembers its own name. In solitude, you are stripped of performance. There is no one to impress, no role to play, no mask to wear. What remains is you, raw and real, beyond the stories others have told you, beyond the labels you've learned to answer to. This is where your real power lies, not in how others see you, but in how you begin to see yourself when there is no one else around to define you. Most people fear solitude not because of what it is, but because of what it reveals. It uncovers the parts of you that have been hidden beneath relationships, distractions, and constant movement. It brings forward your doubts, your unhealed stories, your suppressed desires. But these revelations are not punishments, they are invitations. Invitations to witness yourself fully, to embrace the totality of your being without judgment, and to begin the work of aligning your outer life with your inner truth. The more time you spend in solitude, the more clearly you hear your own voice, distinct from the voices of the world. You realize how much of your life has been shaped by the expectations of others. You recognize which beliefs are truly yours, and which were inherited out of fear or habit. In this awareness, a quiet strength begins to grow. A strength not based on reaction or resistance, but on rootedness. You begin to trust your own rhythm. You stop rushing to keep pace with others, and you start honoring the tempo of your own spirit. In solitude, decisions become simpler. You are no longer trying to balance what you want with what will please others. You are no longer torn between truth and acceptance. You begin to understand that clarity does not come from consensus. It comes from communion. Communion with yourself, with the divine, with the deeper intelligence that has always been guiding you, even when you were too distracted to notice. This clarity is not loud, but it is unshakable. It does not need to explain itself or seek validation. It simply is. And once you experience it, once you live from it, you will never again be satisfied with confusion disguised as comfort. Many seek connection as a way to avoid the discomfort of being alone. But the soul that embraces solitude discovers that connection is most powerful when it arises from wholeness, not from need. You begin to attract relationships that reflect your truth rather than your wounds. Because you have taken the time to know yourself, you no longer lose yourself in others. You no longer compromise your peace to keep someone close. You are willing to walk away from anything that does not align, because you know how to stand alone. And in that knowing, you are never truly alone again. Solitude teaches you how to become your own sanctuary. You learn how to comfort yourself, how to inspire yourself, how to listen deeply and respond wisely. You become less reactive, less dependent on the moods and behaviors of others. You become steady, like a mountain, grounded, observant, undisturbed. This does not mean you close your heart. It means your heart is no longer at the mercy of external conditions. You can love deeply, give generously, and connect sincerely, without losing your center, because your center is no longer located in anyone else. There is a richness to solitude that cannot be replicated in noise. In the silence, you rediscover your creativity, your imagination, your intuition. The mind, no longer preoccupied with surface distractions, begins to open to deeper insights. Solutions arise without effort. Inspiration flows without force. You are reminded of the wisdom that lives within you, a wisdom that is always speaking, always guiding, but often drowned out by the chaos of constant company. In solitude, the volume of your inner world is turned up. You begin to recognize the patterns in your thoughts, the emotions beneath your reactions, and the habits that no longer serve you. You see your life with new eyes, not through the filter of someone else's opinion, but through the clear lens of your own awareness. And in this seeing, transformation becomes possible. The world glorifies business, but the soul longs for stillness. Solitude gives you permission to pause, to reflect, to ask the deeper questions. Who am I without my titles, my relationships, my achievements? What do I truly value? What am I here to create, to express, to become? These are not questions that can be answered in passing. They require time. They require space. They require the quiet of your own company. And when you give yourself that gift, what you receive in return is priceless sovereignty over your own spirit. Solitude is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness is the H of disconnection, but solitude is the embrace of presence. You may be alone, but you are not empty. You are full of awareness, full of life, full of possibility. You begin to enjoy your own presence. You begin to feel at home within yourself. And from this place of self-acceptance, everything in your outer world begins to shift. You stop settling. You stop chasing. You stop apologizing for your needs or hiding your desires. You walk into rooms without shrinking. You speak without fear. You choose with confidence, because you know who you are when no one is looking. The more you honor your solitude, the more magnetic you become. Not because you are trying to impress, but because authenticity always radiates. People feel your presence. They sense your peace. They trust your strength, even if they cannot explain it. You become a mirror for others, not to reflect what they want to see, but to reveal what they too could become if they chose to look within. Every great awakening begins in solitude. Every breakthrough, every shift in consciousness, every leap into the next version of yourself. It all begins when you are willing to step away from the noise and enter the stillness. Not to escape, but to return. Return to your essence. Return to the center of your being. Return to the truth that no matter how many people walk beside you, the journey is always an inner one. Solitude is not the absence of love, but the doorway to it. It is where you remember that your worth was never tied to your visibility, your relationships, or your performance. It was always inherent, always intact, always waiting to be known. The outer world reflects your inner state. This is not merely a comforting idea, but a spiritual law that governs the entire fabric of reality. What you see, what you experience, what you attract. These are not random events, but echoes of your inner world made visible. The people you meet, the situations you encounter, the patterns that repeat themselves in your life are mirrors. They reflect back to you your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and your assumptions. If chaos surrounds you, it often points to a disordered mind. If peace radiates from your environment, it is because peace lives within you. This principle does not blame, but it does reveal. It invites you to stop reacting to the surface and begin correcting the root. Everything begins within. Your thoughts are seeds, and your reality is the harvest. Whatever is planted in the soil of your consciousness, whether through repetition, emotion, or belief, will eventually take form. You cannot continuously harbor fear and expect to live in freedom. You cannot cling to resentment and expect harmony in your relationships. What is within must be expressed without. The law does not forget, does not sleep, and does not fail. It simply fulfills. And it fulfills according to the vibration you carry, not the words you speak. You may speak of wanting peace, but if your thoughts are filled with conflict, the world around you will reflect war. You may claim to desire love, but if your heart holds bitterness, your experiences will be shaped by that bitterness. The outer reflects the inner without exception. This is not to induce guilt, but to awaken responsibility. You are not at the mercy of a cruel or random universe. You are the creator of your experience. Through thought, through emotion, through belief, you construct the lens through which you see the world, and that lens becomes your world. When you change the lens, the scenery shifts. Nothing in your outer life can transform sustainably until you transform inwardly. Changing jobs, changing partners, changing locations. These are surface solutions. If the same thoughts, fears, and patterns go with you, they will recreate the same situations in new forms. It is not the place that must change, it is your perception of it. It is not the person that must shift, it is your belief about what you deserve and who you are that must be renewed. Every complaint is a clue. Every reaction is a revelation. When someone triggers anger in you, it is not about them. It is about what within you was touched, what belief or wound or fear was activated. When you feel ignored, unworthy, or invisible, the outer experience is pointing to an inner story that you have agreed to carry. These stories may not have started with you. They may have been inherited from family, culture, or past pain. But they now live within you, and the outer world, like a faithful servant, continues to confirm them. Not to punish you, but to give you the opportunity to awaken, to rewrite the script, and to reclaim your power. The moment you shift your inner dialogue, your outer life responds. When you begin to speak to yourself with kindness, the people around you either rise to meet that tone or fall away. When you begin to affirm your worth, doors open where before there were only walls. This is not magic, it is alignment. The world outside is not fixed, it is fluid, responsive, and constantly adapting to match the signal you are broadcasting. Your frequency is your power, and your frequency is determined by the quality of your inner world. If you walk through life expecting disappointment, you will find it. If you approach the day expecting beauty, you will notice it. Your attention is a magnet. What you focus on expands. What you believe becomes real. This is why two people can walk through the same situation and have entirely different experiences. It is not the situation that determines the experience. It is the state of the observer. The outer world has no choice but to organize itself around your dominant beliefs. And those beliefs, once examined, can be shifted. They are not set in stone. They are not your destiny. They are choices, repeated over time, until they became unconscious. The work is to bring them back into consciousness and decide again. Even the people who challenge you are mirrors. They reflect parts of you that are unacknowledged, unhealed, or unloved. The critic shows you where you still doubt yourself. The controller reveals where you have given away your power. The one who abandons you points to where you have abandoned yourself. These reflections can be painful, but they are precise. And when you begin to see them for what they are, you stop blaming and start understanding. You stop defending and start transforming. Each difficult encounter becomes a teacher, each trigger an opening, each moment an invitation to grow. The environments you create also mirror your internal condition. Cluttered spaces often reflect cluttered minds. Neglect in the home may point to neglect of the self. Beauty and order, when present, are not luxuries but reflections of internal respect. When you begin to treat your space as sacred, you are affirming your own sacredness. When you create room, you signal readiness. When you maintain clarity around you, clarity within follows. Everything around you is a message, and that message is shaped by your inner conversation with yourself. There is great freedom in this law. It means you are never powerless. No matter what is happening around you, You can always return to your inner world and make a new decision. You can choose a new thought, a new belief, a new focus, and the world will follow. Not always instantly, not always obviously, but inevitably. The universe responds to consistency. It watches where you dwell, not just where you visit. If your thoughts of worthiness are fleeting, your results will be too. But if you build a foundation of self-respect, self-trust, and truth, the outer world will begin to restructure itself to match that stability. Your emotions are also messengers. They tell you what your current vibration is. When you feel joy, love, or peace, you are in alignment with your spirit. When you feel fear, anger, or despair, you are believing a thought that contradicts the truth of who you are. These emotions are not wrong. They are signals. They tell you it is time to pause, go within, and investigate the thought or story creating that emotion. When you correct the inner misalignment, the emotion shifts, and the outer experience begins to change as well. You do not need to manipulate the outside. You do not need to force, beg, chase, or fix. Your only task is to become so aligned within that the outer world has no choice but to reflect the peace, clarity, and purpose that lives in you. When you stand in your truth, the world mirrors truth. When you dwell in fear, the world reflects fear. When you trust the unseen begins to take form in ways that bless, uplift, and guide you. The outer world is your teacher, but your inner world is the curriculum. The lessons you learn within are the ones you pass in life, and the results you see around you are the tests already graded.